There is no bat with this virus.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, August 13th, 2020. This is your award-winning Gimmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1268.
This is No Agenda.
Headed down under and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're all celebrating the nomination for Vice President of Kamala Harris. In Finnish, it means horrible and disgusting. I should have done more research. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yeah, you should have done a lot more research to make that opening shorter to fit in the music bed.
Yeah, well.
Oh, well. Well done. Well done. Hey,
now I have.
Wait. For question.
Yeah?
Have you been doing the work?
No. I've been doing the show.
Oh, okay.
So I have this clip that I've been carrying around just because I thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And this was from a guy, I've never heard of this guy, and he's discussing on one of the shows, how do you vet the vice president? Now, I would think that if you vetted the vice president and you found her first name meant horrible and disgusting.
In Finnish, that is.
In Finnish, well, I know, but you always do that kind of research so you at least have something, because you know Trump's going to eventually just bring it up and then start calling her horrible Harris, which has got a nice sound to it.
That's the one.
Yeah, we're looking for a nickname. Horrible Harris.
He had phony Kamala.
Well, yes, and there's a ad that came out talking about phony Kamala. Mm-hmm. In fact, I have a copy of that ad.
Yeah, that it was ready 2 seconds after the announcement.
It was pre-done.
Yeah.
But I want to play this. This is a vetting a vice president, and this was from WBUR Public Radio in Boston.
Former Vice President Joe Biden says he expects to reveal his running mate next week. The presumptive Democratic presidential nominee made that announcement at a news conference yesterday. The vetting process of potential vice presidential nominees is an invasive process. One person who's gone through it likened it to a colonoscopy. Among those believed to be on Biden's list is U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren. As WBUR's Callum Borchers reports now, Warren and anyone else being considered already went through some very probing questions.
I am a graduate of the Jeff Begay School of Broadcasting.
You might like to forget your middle school years, but if you want to be vice president, you don't have the luxury.
What were you like in junior high school? Who were your friends? What were your friends like?
That's retired Admiral James Stavridis recalling some of what he was asked 4 years ago when Hillary Clinton's campaign vetted him.
When did you start dating? What kind of physical relationships did you have? And, you get very personal very quickly.
At the time of his interrogation, Stavridis was a dean at Tufts, a former four-star naval officer and supreme allied commander of NATO forces in Europe. And here he was getting grilled about teenage romance. There was more, too.
Obviously, they wanted my taxes. They also wanted, this is interesting, I think, my complete medical records and my dental records. They asked for every article I'd ever published, transcripts of every school I'd attended. I remember looking at the stack of documents I was going to send them, and it was well over 2 feet.
And that's for just one possible running mate.
How do they keep that all secret? I mean, if you're one of these vetting consultants, what a treasure trove. You're Oppo research the next time around.
It seems like you're creating a dossier more than anything else. And where's the information about Willie Brown and Kamala Harris?
Hey, do you want to do all the Harris stuff now? It's fine with me. I just want people to know I have a lot of Corona stuff from Australia, etc. So just want them to know, hang in there. I see you down under.
Well, I didn't plan on it, even though I kind of initiated it, and maybe I feel bad about that now. But
no, you shouldn't.
We can get it out of the way. I've only got a couple of items, so It's not going to go for too long.
Okay. Why don't you kick? I'm sure you have an overview. You got an overview of something?
Well, I do have an overview somewhere. You caught me off guard, but let's do a couple of things first. A little housekeeping.
Okay.
For one thing, there's a whole video on how to pronounce her name.
Yes, it's Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala, yeah.
But Biden, when he gave his...
He said Kamala. I saw it.
He said both.
He said it a couple different ways. Yeah, sure.
In fact, in one situation, which I have a clip of, he said it 2 ways within 10 words.
Okay, I need to hear this.
This is the Kamala.
Okay.
That's what I asked Kamala. I asked Kamala to be the last voice in the room.
Kamala.
Yeah, so... there's 2 things about, you got to turn on your speakers just a little bit. I can't get it out. There's 2 things that, I'm glad you're doing this. Let's get it out of the way. Okay. I really don't care. It's hard for me. It's more of a mouthful to say, Kamala. It rolls better when you say Kamala. Man, I'm still coming back through your speakers. It's crazy. It's not Kamala. We got that. So, it's like, okay, fine. Everyone, Tucker Carlson got reamed by that idiot Democrat consultant for saying it wrong. And it's just, it's margin stuff to me. So is she's not eligible. She's not a natural born citizen. Oh, please.
Oh, that is such bull
How many
crap.
times have we gone through that one? I mean, and I would think that's something that the Democrats themselves launched, just like Hillary Clinton launched birtherism against Barack Obama. I'm sure it's just to distract everybody from what's really going on with her. She's a horrible person. Everybody sees it.
She's a cop.
Well, yeah, not a great cop. I mean, it's like. And then there's the whole, and this has been shut down. Just go look at her Wikipedia. She is, of course, really Indian American or Asian American. If she wanted, she could say she's Caribbean American or West Indies American. I don't know what she wants to call it. But on the Wikipedia page, she identifies as black. So, black people, you got that? You're done. You can't use that anymore. It's ADOS. It's now been hijacked. So now when they say black and brown people, does that include ADOS? No. She's black. To me, she's brown, if anything, but okay. She identifies as black. I think that's a problem, not for me, but I know who it's a problem for voters.
Well, it's funny to listen to the comments on her. You had and they took cameras, obviously, to Oakland, where she was born or raised, and and they went to the park during some big event, and all the black women.
Yeah.
There's no problem with them. They're happy as a clam that she's been picked.
Well, but this is what the Democrat Party has been going. Yeah, the black men, they want no part of this. The Black Lives Matter don't care about black men either. They're a tool. They're a tool. Look at it. How many black men do you see in leadership positions in Black Lives Matter?
No, it's like the Women's March, basically.
Yeah.
Let's play a couple of things. I don't have the rundown that I can find, but I do have a couple of little clips here and there that I wanted to get out of the way, including some very funny clips from C-SPAN where somebody called in.
So are we doing COVID or are we going through with Kamala?
This is Kamala.
Oh, I thought we were going. Okay.
Oh, you wanted to jump right to COVID?
People, it's important for the rest of the world.
Well, I'll tell you what, because these clips are funny. They should be held.
Oh, yeah. Well, if it's funny, hold it for after the coronavirus.
But
shit.
I will say, I'm looking for any other stuff I got. I got a lot of COVID international updates. But before we do that, let's just at least go to one quick Biden clip that came from that announcement. And this one I'm just as kind of almost an Ask Adam, but it's not. Try this clip. Biden old saying.
The governor should thank me more. As an old saying goes, give me a break.
When has "give me a break" been an old saying?
Oh, it's been around since the 80s.
It's not a saying.
Yes,
an old
it is.
Saying is like, a stitch in time saves 9.
Well, he didn't.
It's like just like going like this, saying this. As the old saying goes, get lost.
Yeah, but
as the old saying goes, I'm here.
He didn't finish the old saying. He only gave you half of it.
Yeah.
It's give me a break. Give me a break of that Kit Kat bar. We all know what he meant.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, let's go to COVID.
Glad we did that.
Get the rest of this stuff out of the
way.
All right.
Well, let me first share some numbers from Florida. Florida all of a sudden was on the rise. Stuff was on the rise. This is what's going on. Florida, they can't keep their shit together.
Well, if you want to let me intro into that, how about doing the COVID update USA from Democracy Now!, where she exaggerates the problem?
Florida and Georgia have reported their highest daily death tolls since the start of the coronavirus pandemic, as the U.S. recorded nearly 1,300 new deaths from COVID-19 Tuesday. Texas and California reported near record rates of infections, and Wisconsin passed the 1,000 death mark. The Big Ten and Pac-12 college athletic conferences each voted to postpone their fall sports seasons, including football games, a multi-billion-dollar industry and major source of revenue to universities. President Trump lashed out against the move, telling Fox Sports Radio in an interview it would be a tragic mistake to cancel football in the fall. Meanwhile, in southwestern Georgia, a second prisoner at the Stewart Detention Center, a for-profit immigration jail, has died of COVID-19. The 70-year-old Costa Rican national, whose name hasn't been released, is the third asylum seeker to die in ICE custody in the last week alone.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, we're all dying here in Texas. Thanks for the update, Amy. Didn't realize that. Why is it that we can barely have anyone in the restaurant, but the buses, it's okay to ride in them? And tell me how that. Just tell me how that works, okay? Just tell me how that works.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Buses are public transportation, and they're very important to the working class people.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this important.
Nobody needs to go to a restaurant.
No. The people don't need jobs either. Let's talk about the Florida numbers. Yes, record numbers. Surging. Luckily, we have Fox 35 on our side.
Florida's daily coronavirus case.
I'm sorry. This is one of those where our producer caught it on his phone, but it's worth it.
Florida's daily coronavirus cases jumping back above 8,000 today. Many of those cases are from down in Miami-Dade County. Fox 35 News continuing to question the numbers, and it turns out many of today's cases were actually from weeks ago. The Florida Department of Health says a backlog of 4,000 positive test results were received today from a lab in Miami. Some of those positive tests are from as far back as June 23rd.
Okay, thank you. So this is not the first time Florida has done weird stuff with their numbers. So there's a surge. Yeah, if you dump all the numbers into the database on one day, this is happening everywhere. The UK has lowered their death rate by 5,400. You won't hear that a lot. It won't be repeated over and over and over again. What you will hear is that neck gaiters are no good. Neck gaiters, you might as well just be tongue kissing somebody. So they're going to be outlawed, even though the CDC has said no such thing. Fauci has said no such thing. Birx has said no such thing.
Well, then what triggered this?
One test done by who was it? Universities at Duke University School of Medicine. Now, if you look at the actual study, and I've been looking at a number of studies in preparation for this show, they say, well, the one we had was least effective. It really depends on the material, and we can't really say it 100% sure. And I don't know if it's really, I don't think it's a published peer-reviewed study, but okay. Tina,
nobody in California said jack about these things.
It's coming. Tina flew back from visiting a friend yesterday on Southwest Airlines, and they made it very clear: no gaiters and also no masks with an exhale vent. So, New York,
flying back from where?
Florida. New York.
Florida's a hot spot, flying from one hot spot to another.
Yeah, she's badass that way, man. Honey Badger don't give a shit. New York, though, has they're starting the mask force. The mask force, and they will have mask force announcements on all public transit every 15 minutes, and they've given a little script for the conductors to read.
Anonymous of Dog Patch must be getting a kick out of this.
Why?
Well, he's mentioned before that this is like, like a Sharia state that we've created for ourselves. It had nothing to do with Muslims. It's just the way it seems to be working out. All we're missing is guys in the street throwing acid in women's faces.
Don't give them any ideas. It's crazy. So the conductors will have to say stuff like, masks are required on the subway. I look out for you. Please look out. Wait.
Still riders, welcome to Manhattan Transport Authority. Masks are required on the subway. I look out for you. Please look out for me. Wear a mask at all times while riding the subway.
Oh, I'm doing a Texas guy for some reason.
That's pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, masks are required.
It's not quite as distorted as the actual subway speakers.
The NTA wants to thank you for wearing your mask today. Let's keep New York healthy. Slaves.
Let me see if there's more. These are good. They should take mine. Why should they let the guy? Oh, here it is. Oh, here's the one.
Attention, everyone. Attention. This is your conductor. Face coverings are required when you ride with us and need to cover your mouth and nose. My co-workers are coming through the train with free masks. Free masks for anyone who wants one. Look under your chair. There's a free mask.
Wouldn't that be cool? Did it like Oprah? Like an Oprah deal?
Be safe, and thank you for riding with us.
So that'll be what if you take.
Talk about a germ vector.
Yeah,
the New York subway.
Exactly, but don't open the restaurants. No, don't you dare open the restaurants. In the U.S., I mean, it's great if you look at the CDC's website. They have an updated graph. We're down. We're at almost at zero. And it's whatever smoothed over average that they present. But the graph I put it in the show notes. It's so good. It's over, but not in the rest of the world. We've got everything cranking up. Although, the UK with their numbers, this is what I was talking about, the 5,400 deaths. They had to take those off. Because it turns out that the flu and pneumonia has killed 5 times more people than coronavirus in the last month.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me.
So they're counting, influenza and pneumonia. They're going through the exact it seems like every country goes through the same thing. In fact, now they're kind of coming back. We've already had a Black Lives Matter rally in the UK. But now, as part of the template, it just seems like it. We had lockdowns, lots of media just in your face telling you you're going to die. Models that 2 million people, confusion, different charts, daily updates, and then all of a sudden protests, Black Lives Matter. What? Police are killing black people. It seems to be going this way in the UK as well. Here's a Labour member of Parliament, Dawn Butler.
But I think, in a way, it shows you the bias and the assumption that happens when you see black people in a car, driving, that they're automatically saying, we need to check that these people are here for the right reason, that they are not criminals. And we need to change that. We need to change that thinking. And that's going to take a lot of effort, and it needs to be done quickly. So it needs to be quite intense. And that's why I think it's important that I work with the police, but organizations that have been working on this for many years, trying to change the system that doesn't work and over-polices black people and criminalizes black people. And yes, sometimes it's a difficult conversation and sometimes an uncomfortable conversation, but it's a conversation that has to be had, because really this cannot continue. And in the light of Black Lives Matter, what we're trying to do is dismantle the structural racism that takes place. And Macpherson has said that the Met Police is institutionally racist. Cressida Dick doesn't like that term. That is not something that she should be saying. What she should be saying is, I lead an organization that is still institutionally racist after 20 years. I need to stop that. I need to cut that institutional racism out of the Met Force, and will do whatever it takes. And that's what she should be saying.
I heard exactly the same that's going on here. Police pulling people over for no reason. You're black, so you're suspicious. Institutional racism. All under Black Lives Matter banner. It's a very different country. They don't have,
to say the least.
They don't have 400 years of history in this regard. They just didn't. They just don't have that brand. But this is from only 20 years or 30 years or whatever it is. So I'm just seeing a template here, and I'm trying to see if there is a pattern with countries that you get everything going, you get the lockdowns, you get strife, your head's filled with information, then boom, here's a problem, black lives, people are being killed by white people, and then politicians are in the mix. And I hope not, but I think this is exactly what's going to happen in Australia and possibly New Zealand. So you recall the producer who got really mad. I played the Katie Hopkins clip, and we talked about that on the show after that. Mm-hmm. So he, of course, responded to me saying, man, and it took me, it's Bob, and I've known Bob for a long, he's been, sending me stuff for years. And I can't figure out that he's angry, and he's, fuck your New York attitude, which I thought was funny. Just all this stuff being brought in, and I'm like, I went 10 rounds with him, 10 rounds. He was worth it. It was worth it. And
Nice.
So I finally was able to say, hey man, look, that was all I was sent. That's all I had. I have not received any boots on the ground reports. Certainly not any clips that are usable, and I really don't understand what's going on, and you're bitching at me because I played the wrong clip. So I think it dawned on him, and so he was able to, and of course now he's flooding me with stuff, but it's really, and I put all of his updates in the show notes, but I think we can kind of distill it down. First, I'll give you an update just so you get the urgency of what's going on. This is only pretty much in the state of Victoria, so the Melbourne region. This is what they've been deluged with.
First things first, there are 15,251 confirmed aggregate cases of coronavirus in Victoria. That's 331 new cases since yesterday's update. I'm saddened to have to report that there are now 246 Victorians who have passed away due to this global pandemic. That is an addition of 19 further deaths. The number increases by 18. It's the same as yesterday. There's reporting done in quick time, and sometimes there's just a need to reconcile. So 246 is the accurate total. It has only gone up by 18, but there are in fact 19 additional Victorians who have passed away. I can't provide too much detail, but what I can, I'll now go through for you. One female in their 50s. One male in their 70s, 6 females in their 80s, 4 males in their 80s, 4 females in their 90s, and 3 males in their 90s.
Okay, so that piece of information we here have been trained to listen to. It's like, well, what were the ages of these people? And if you break down the numbers, 78% of the deaths in Victoria are people who are in what they call aged care, a nursing home. So the official narrative, and actually I should probably read the summary from Bob, because I believe he has taken in the official narrative completely and may not see some of the things that are going on, which is why I think it's an interesting case to see if we can find a pattern, which starts with the old people. How is it possible that any country at this point has not thought to themselves, we need to protect our old people? But they didn't do that for some reason. And now it's in the news. We have to stop this. We should figure this out. But here is his summary. Virus was almost beaten here. It has been in New Zealand. It was coming in from overseas travelers. Initially, the government asked these travelers to self-isolate. It was quickly discovered they weren't. So the government forced them into hotel quarantine for 2 weeks at the government's expense. This was the magic answer. And I don't think he's saying that cynically. Everything was working perfectly in every state and still does, apart from Victoria and Melbourne. It's now clear the job was outsourced to companies, lowest bid style. Guards were fraternizing with hotel patrons. Guards were lowering class were lower class trying to earn money, but many were also Uber drivers, etc. Other states had police and army enforcing these hotels, but not here in Melbourne. Lots of stories on why this happened, from trying to appease desperate hotel prisoners to low-cost bidding for guards to inclusion policy to hire all ethnic types. Who knows the real reason? There's now an inquiry into all of this, and being cynical, many think it is overt calls for the resignation of the premier. No one has taken the full blame yet. So what happened is it got loose, and this has been immediately blamed on the people returning for the lockdown. Well, actually, let me play the aged clip here for a second.
The state government has been forced to step in and take control at 3 aged care homes which have growing COVID outbreaks. Jody Lee is outside one of the facilities in Altona North, and Jody, things were getting desperate.
Mitch, so desperate, the state government says some aged care facilities have been begging ambulances and hospitals to take their residents. It comes as many are struggling with PPE and to maintain staffing levels. It means that dozens of older and vulnerable Victorians are now falling victim to neglect.
So, bad on you, Victoria. What I didn't know is this incredible rivalry between the states. So we have Melbourne and Victoria, New South Wales, of course. We've got Western Australia. Did you know how intense this rivalry was?
Well, I'm not there to feel it, so no.
I was there in 1990. I realized it's 30 years ago, and people still had guns and seemed to be an outgoing kind of FU kind of cool people with a mix of American, Dutch, and British influences. I've always enjoyed it very much, but it seems like everyone's depressed and mad, and Victoria being a big economic region and also a big football region, as in soccer. But all the footballers, they left because they got tipped off. This is just what people are talking about. They get tipped off, so they ran to a different state. You cannot pass the state boundary. You can't go from Melbourne to Sydney. You will get shot in the head. There's like checkpoints, and you cannot travel. Maybe you've seen on the street people getting arrested, rousted, no mask, boom, throwing a girl on the pavement, taking them in, thousands of dollars of fines. And I think that they've gone completely insane from the messaging and the belief that they had magic, that they had figured it out. No, because we had the top dog, Maurice the dog, on. I interviewed him. We played some clips on the show, and we talked specifically about Australia and New Zealand. He said, "Well, if I'm right, if this follows the influenza patterns and it has airborne spread, it will show up around flu season in Australia," which it is. And last year, just as a little pointer, in Victoria, 900 people died of influenza. And this little ditty.
As students head back to school, parents and teachers are increasingly concerned about how coronavirus could spread, especially in buildings with inadequate ventilation. John Lednitsky studies viruses at the University of Florida.
There was a lot of controversy about SARS coronavirus 2 being transmitted or not being transmitted through airborne routes.
Analyzing air samples in a hospital room, Lednitsky's team found infectious virus can spread through the air up to 16 feet away from an infected patient through tiny droplets called aerosols.
This is the smoking gun that everybody's been asking for.
Lindsay Marr studies how viruses travel through the air.
We're talking about virus that is present in very small droplets, tiny ones that we call aerosols, that can travel much farther through the air and remain in the air for minutes to hours at a time.
Exactly as predicted. So I just want our producers down under to know that I don't think anything could have stopped this. This is so viral that so don't blame yourself. And of course, it's completely political. I believe it's conservatives who run the state. So here's a piece from the local news, and I think it's a liberal member of is it Parliament, or I'm not sure exactly what their structure is, but a liberal political member of the state who will be talking again about the premier stepping down over this. So instead of, hey, it probably wasn't possible at all to shut all of this down, and don't go so hard on yourselves, this is the focus of the day.
You had all of those claims yesterday. Now you've got new claims today that we just reported. These guards were taking cash in hand while also claiming JobKeeper payments and also taking guests out to supermarkets and 7-Elevens and what have you. I mean, what do you make of all of that?
Well, this is a scandal of monumental proportions. I mean, this is a complete fiasco. And not one single minister in Daniel Andrews' government here in Victoria has taken responsibility for this fiasco, whether that be the Police Minister Lisa Neville, the Health Minister Jenny McCarkos, the Jobs Minister Martin Bakula, or indeed the Premier Daniel Andrews. I mean, there are allegations that security guards were bonking those in quarantine. I mean, this is just quite extraordinary.
Quarantine bonking, everybody. It's got to be a song, Quarantine Bonking. So it's completely political. There's warring with the states. It all sounds so incredibly familiar. They thought that they had it all. Don't worry about the old people. How short-sighted is that? No, it's a pattern. I think it's a pattern. This is not intended to give you any truth of what's happening. And no one that I see in the media there, and there's a lot that have been sent, there's really no mention of China. No mention that it comes from China, which, of course, is where we really should be focusing our attention. And now, the country that for sure had all the magic, for sure had it all done. Oh, my goodness. New Zealand now has cases. And they're close to understanding what happened.
Now, New Zealand officials are investigating the possibility that its first corona case in more than 3 months were infected by imported freight. The country has gone back into lockdown following the discovery of 4 infected family members in Auckland.
The alert level that we are implementing here in New Zealand was not implemented in Victoria until some weeks after their first cases reappeared in the community. That is why we are responding strongly and quickly again.
4 other people who had contact with the family are considered likely cases.
Remember the same thing the dog said? Meatpacking plants, it's all about the humidity. The stuff can hang around for hours on end in that kind of environment. So also, sorry?
Well, a couple of things I want to straighten out. One is that Daniel Andrews is part of the Labour Party. He's not a conservative.
Okay, thank you.
Also, I think the thing is really summarized by the fact that we have like 50+% of our deaths from old folks' homes.
Mm-hmm.
That in that early clip you played, they claim 79% from old folks' homes.
78.
It's okay, 78. 78 per day. It's like that was a Trump lie.
Yeah. No,
so
it's nuts.
That it is just like I don't understand why people don't understand that basis. You're right. You just protect the old folks' homes. I mean, in New York, they infected the old folks' homes to the tune of 10,000 dead.
Well done. Yeah, that was a good one. So So I guess just back to the pattern for a second. So you're going to get you're going to get the mask debate. Don't worry, you'll get it. This is not having one or not. It's what is the right mask. How will you come back? You're right. I mean, the whole economy will be. These people have no guns now. They can't do what we did. We can't go out and say, "Oh, I'm going to stand around here with my gun at the Capitol and show people I'm unhappy," and I'll probably be left alone, which they were. None of that recourse. In New Zealand, it's real. It's already been just kind of dead. There's only 5 million people there.
It's a communist state for all practical purposes. You might as well be run by Brezhnev.
I even checked in with Sir Chris Wilson, A, to see if he was alive, and B, what's the update. I think he's too level-headed, and he's in. I think he's more near Sydney, so he doesn't care. Victoria, screw those guys. I don't care. That's the state rivalry. It's nuts. Now, on the therapeutic vaccine and such front, some interesting
Well, before we
developments.
leave the country rundown, I want to get these COVID clips out of the way.
Oh, good.
So let's go to this is all from Democracy Now!, except for there's one from France 24, but this is Democracy Now!. This is the World Report.
India reported more than 60,000 new coronavirus cases and 834 deaths Wednesday, nearly breaking a record set earlier this week, bringing India's official death toll to more than 46,000. Latin America remains the epicenter of the pandemic, with just 8% of the world's population and 30% of global deaths from COVID-19. In Bolivia, morgues in the city of La Paz are filled to capacity as bodies of COVID-19 victims have been left uncollected in an open-air spot near a local chapel. A police officer cited residents' fear of contracting the virus.
What is the death ratio for India? They have 1.6 billion people, and they're really tightly packed. But, there's a lot of hydroxychloroquine use. They're outside a lot. So
she takes it to the extreme, to just as part of the anti-Trump
number
thing.
porn. It's number porn.
Number porn. Well, let's listen to how France 24 handles talking about some of the European action.
Well, staying with Europe, the coronavirus appears to be circulating at a faster rate here in France, with health officials saying the indicators used for tracking the virus have clearly worsened.
Wait a minute. Faster? What are they saying here? Let me hear that again.
Well, staying with Europe, the coronavirus appears to be circulating at a faster rate here in France.
Is this like the national pastime just to say we suck the most?
Oh, no, we're number one.
With health officials saying the indicators used for tracking the virus have clearly worsened in recent days. Now, on Wednesday, the latest government figures showed that over 2,500 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed in the previous 24 hours. That's the sharpest increase since May. And of the 600,000 tests carried out across the past week, over 11,600 came back positive. We can listen now to what France's health minister has been saying.
You can be assured that we're doing a lot of tests, 600,000 tests per week. We've now gone beyond 600,000. We have also made masks available. Many explanations have been given in order to help French people understand the epidemic. Everything we do today is so that we don't have to go back into lockdown. Schools will open at the beginning of term as planned, with a safe sanitary protocol in place. Businesses are up and running, and public transport has been running for several months with compulsory mask wearing.
Staying with the coronavirus, over France's northeastern border, the wearing of a face mask has now become compulsory in all public spaces in the Belgian capital. Over the last 7 days, a daily average of 50 cases per 100,000 residents has been recorded in Brussels, pushing it high up Europe's leaderboard of hardest hit cities. Up until now, the wearing of masks had only been obligatory in crowded public spaces and enclosed areas like shopping centres.
I think... sorry?
Notice the word leaderboard.
Yeah. We love being on the leaderboard.
They're moving up.
I can predict what's going to happen. We need a shocker in the U.S. We're getting a little cocky on everything, on the masks and on the masks. We need a celebrity to die.
Never happens.
A celebrity needs to die.
It's got to be an old celebrity if it's going to happen.
It should be someone who was spotted without a mask, or whose husband or wife didn't have a
Trump
mask.
supporter, James Woods.
Ooh, James Woods. Oh, that would. Now,
they're going to have to go. They're going to have to find somewhere killing him.
I already hear he stays away from boats.
Well, that's smart on his part. Stay away from small planes, I'd say, too.
Yeah, the general. Shia LaBeouf, he might be one. Someone's got to go. I mean, to hammer it home.
Kanye would be one to take out. If
No.
That would, yeah. Okay.
No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I don't know.
I've been waiting for a celebrity to drop dead from the corona. It's such a virulent problem, and Hollywood's filled with people that like crowds.
People we won't miss. People we wouldn't miss. It's okay.
But this is not happening. I'm not seeing it. I don't want to be condemned because I'm I'm on a death watch for celebrities.
But you think how many celebrities there really are? And I mean, there's a percentage. You got to have one.
There's at least
someone's got to drop.
How many do you think of 10,000, 20,000 real celebrities, that brand name celebrities?
Hold on. People are suggesting. We have suggestions. Michael Moore, Phil Collins. Now that would be a shocker. That would be that's the kind of level you want.
Why Phil Collins anyway? Michael Moore is funnier.
Nah, it's.
There's no newscasters that are out and about constantly. All the media, by the way, is mostly exempt from many of these rules, and they can go floating around.
Yeah.
And they're floating around, a lot of them, and they're some staying at home, but most of them float around. I don't see it. I'm waiting. I mean, you know, I know there are people that have died that tend to be in an old folks' home.
Yeah,
they're old.
Yeah.
And they're, you know.
Well,
sorry.
So schools got a lot of notes from teachers about schools and homeschooling. They say, really, we speak from a very high point of high privilege. Here's one of our teachers. You were talking Sunday show about how many school districts were going to or talking about going to online learning, or this online learning in general, not just homeschooling, but homeschooling through the Zoom. There are two groups who this does not work for. The first is the poor who can't afford or don't have broadband or even dial-up. It's true. As for the second, 30 plus years ago when I lived in Silicon Valley, this particular producer says, I had a girlfriend who taught kids with learning disabilities. This included having been a principal at one that only taught kids with problems like severe dyslexia using a unique system developed by a woman in Seattle. At one point, we set up an office at our home so she could do one-on-one consulting work with them. Well, if there's one thing that was clear is that kids with dyslexia, and there are others who have far worse problems, require in-person, hands-on, one-on-one teaching to get any benefit from school at all. Many were behind their peers before the pandemic, so imagine where they are now that schools are closed. Standard online teaching for them just doesn't work. And he said, before I retired, I spent 8 years working in the training department of a company that made slot machines and software for running casinos. I created hundreds of online learning courses and videos for employees and customers. As useful as they were, the need for in-person training kept our classrooms filled. If adults without learning disabilities don't find online courses sufficient for their needs, what does that say about kids with or without learning issues? And these days, as you know, most kids have a learning disability.
Well, there's also the point that these kids aren't being served with the instructors.
They already had a couple
strikes. It's not as though the very poor are that enthusiastic about school and they learn in the classroom. Many of them don't even go to the classroom. And then there's situations like this. See if I can find it. It's funny.
Well, just why I say the poor is where you have two parents who have to work and the older child has to stay home and babysit the younger children because they can't afford.
Well, there's
a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of models for poor. Here's an interesting story. This is the WTF story of the week.
Okay. From Democracy Now!
A Michigan judge has closed the case against a 15-year-old African-American student who had been sent to a juvenile jail in May after she failed to finish her schoolwork online. The girl, who's known simply as Grace, was released from custody in July and has now been removed from probation.
Now this story is a couple weeks old, and it was a domestic dispute situation. The cops had been there many, many times. She'd been removed from the home before. She and her mother came to blows. And that's how Amy presents it?
Do we know it's the same story?
Yes.
This story was just ran yesterday.
That is the exact story.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not that it's old. It's just I can't believe that ran yesterday and they won't report what actually happened. It's just another Orange Man bad
What
thing.
are you saying? What do you mean they won't report what happened? What?
Yeah. All right. I want to get to vaccines, but first, this was surprising. This is a healthcare professional doctor. She's triple board certified. She's a hands-on physician in Florida. And she was asked what I have to say might qualify as a great question because I have not heard it asked. What exactly does the CDC recommend when someone shows up at your office and they have COVID? Have you heard anyone ask or answer that question?
Well, how would you know that someone has COVID when they show up at your office?
Well, when they've been tested. Do you know what the procedure?
So you're telling me
what the procedure
so somebody has been tested and shown to be positive, and they show up at work.
No, they show up. No, they show up at your doctor's office, and they say, "Okay, I've been tested. I'm positive, and I have whatever my symptoms." Okay. So, what do you think the CDC recommends?
They recommend you throw them into the street.
What is
Move
the
them to
actual
old folks' home? No, I have no idea.
Close.
Recommendation by the FDA or the CDC to doctors. What is it you are being told if your patient tests positive? Here is what we're recommending you do.
Let's say literally nothing that I know of. It is stay home in isolation for 2 weeks. And then potentially either get retested again, or, that is muddy. And I think one of the biggest points throughout this is people have become so fear-based because of the fear-mongering mainstream media that most people are living in their amygdala, this reptilian, fear-based part of our brain.
Yeah.
And when you do that, critical thinking is out the window. So people they've lost critical thinking. They're reacting with this, immediate response from programming. So for me, it's look at medicine. It is not black and white. It is called the art of medicine. It's the practice of medicine because we look at all kinds of things to come up with a program.
And she went into how she'll study. She'll go buy some books or look some stuff online, depending on what ailment comes along, that it's not just like, oh, you're here with that, boom, you get this. In fact, there's no recommendation from CDC or FDA. Go home and self-quarantine. Isn't that exactly when you should be, taking something, maybe some zinc and something else, quercetin, I don't care what it is? I find that bizarre.
Yeah, you'd think. Well, some people did. I mean, I will repeat this. I repeated it before. The first clip we played about COVID back in February or May or March. Was one of the Hollywood stars that was in this situation. And the doctor immediately gave him that treatment. And he walked, he spent his 2 weeks hunkering down. He was fine.
I wish I remembered what that guy's name was.
He was I think he's in Hawaii 5-0.
I know, but I just can't seem to find it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're on to so there's nothing. Shut up. You don't get anything till you're in the hospital, which is where all the hydroxychloroquine zinc combo studies are from, is people in the hospital when it's really
it's too late
to be using that. But there's no recommendation. And I guess remdesivir is also, you got to be in the hospital first.
And dead in that
case. Russia is now claiming they are done and shipping their vaccine. And
I didn't know that they were shipping it.
Well, you'd think from the way everyone is saying it's going to suck, it's no good, questionable, we don't have enough information, we don't know what's going on with them. Yeah, because it doesn't say Moderna or any other U.S. company that's been pre-funded and got
a pump and dump.
And if you think it's over, no. It's on. In fact, this interview with Bill Gates, the Mr. Vaccine, who set up the Gavi, that is it's the Gates something vaccine alliance, but it's the vaccine companies, other commercial businesses, government, or to some degree government, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And it's really this interview, which is on Christiane Amanpour, except she had some guy from, CBS or CNN interview Gates. Wasn't
it Isaacson that was interviewing him?
I can't remember. Maybe it was.
And he was at home, and he had a camera that made his head look like a giant egg.
And it looks like he lives in some kind of medieval castle. Excuse me. So the question came up about leadership, and I think you mentioned this on just the last show. Bill Gates, he's like, we need more leadership on the vaccines, more leadership from the U.S. We're just not good. And what does that mean exactly?
You just said if we can get the U.S. to show global leadership. We've been retrenching from that from a few years now. What do we need to do to show global leadership?
Well, it's reasonably straightforward. If we would put $4 billion into the special coronavirus fund that the vaccine organization Gavi's created.
Okay, so the first thing out of his mind, U.S. leadership would mean more money into the group that I'm a part of and I started, $4 billion.
The vaccine organization Gavi's created, then, we could raise the rest of the money from others. Likewise, if we use global funds.
Sounds like he's got the financing, but someone said, hey, we'll match it if the U.S. kicks in. Otherwise, we're not on board.
Then, we could raise the rest of the money from others. Likewise.
Now, listen to this. He is shilling for dough. Listen.
Then, we could raise the rest of the money from others. Likewise, if we use global fund, which would then take on COVID as a fourth disease, that it would provide.
Hey, hold on a second. If this is all so important to him, he's got more than, $50-60 billion in the bank?
Well,
why doesn't he just cough it up?
Well, he says global fund. It's only 20 more seconds. He says global fund. That's him. Would kick in something, but it's not just I'll kick in something. No, listen.
Which would then take on COVID as a fourth disease that it would provide therapeutics for. Also, $4 billion there. So
$4 billion there. Oh, $4 billion there. So he says, I think he's saying he'll kick in $4 billion if the U.S. government kicks in $4 billion.
He'd say that.
What?
He'd say that.
Yeah. Now let's listen to the whole.
I don't believe that's what he's saying.
That's exactly what he's saying.
Well, why doesn't he say, I'll kick it in?
He says that in Bill Gates' language. Listen again.
Fund that the vaccine organization Gavi's created, then, we could raise the rest of the money from others. Likewise, if we use global fund.
That's him.
Which would then take on COVID as a fourth disease that it would provide therapeutics for. Also, $4 billion there. So
he's saying they would put in $4 billion, but he needs $4 billion minimum from the U.S. government, and I guess it's a $12 billion. He'll need an extra $4 billion from someone else. He's trying to raise the cash.
Compared to the trillions of economic damage or supplemental thing, getting the international response, showing our strong role to get that going, $8 billion is an incredible bargain.
And he coughed too. He's one of his tells.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's before he said it's an incredible bargain.
So why do you think? I mean, I agree with what you're saying.
Okay, well, let's just drop that because it's not important. Let's go back to the basis of this whole back and forth, which is global.
Yes.
And Isaacson's all in on that, and Gates is all in on this. This whole thing has been a promotion of globalism from the get-go. Right from the get-go, right from the beginning. We needed more global leadership, and it's like we're dropping the ball because we should be the big global leaders.
Yep. Well, here's the fun thing. Stephen Mosier, who is a scientist in his own right, but he has taken upon himself, I think we might have played a short, almost unintelligible clip of the Italian doctor, scientist, who wrote a whole book on exactly how the coronavirus came to be, but it's only in Italian, and it hasn't been translated, and you can barely understand what the guy's saying. It was a couple shows back. So Stephen Mosier is a scientist, and he's been writing a lot about the virus and about China, and it seems. In fact, no, I sent this article to you that he wrote. That's what it is. I sent this article to you about the origins of the coronavirus. But before I play that clip, here he is talking about the fact that we actually can't create a vaccine that's going to work, and why.
Why China has refused to provide the complete genome of the China virus to the World Health Organization, to the United States, or anywhere else. If the Chinese provided the matrix virus, that is the original virus, the source virus that they created, it would have meant admitting that SARS-CoV-2, the China virus, was created in a laboratory. In fact, he went on to say the incomplete genome made available by China lacks some inserts of AIDS amino acids, which itself is a smoking gun. So if you look at the incomplete genome of the China virus that has been provided by China, you can see that there are pieces missing that constitute a smoking gun. Now, the key question, of course, for those of us who are living through a pandemic concerns the development of a vaccine. Professor Trito on this point is not optimistic. He says, given the many mutations of the China virus, it's unlikely a single vaccine that blocks the virus will be found. Quote, at the moment, 11 different strains have been identified of the China virus. The A2A genetic line developed in Europe, the B1 genetic line, which took root in North America, are more contagious than the original strain originating in Wuhan. I therefore believe, Dr. Trito says, at most, a vaccine can be found effective on 4 or 5 strains and able to cover 75% of the world's population.
So I guess we never got the original genome.
Well, that's news to me.
Well, I knew that.
It doesn't surprise me.
It was a talking point for a while, and it just kind of went away. And so the way I understand it is you can make a vaccine if you understand the genome, since these are mRNAs, or maybe they use the genome just to recreate the virus.
Don't know.
I don't fucking know. I don't know. But
we don't know. Neither one of us know.
But this doctor seems to know that if you don't have the original genome, you're never going to get a vaccine that works for the original virus.
Well, his real argument is you're never going to get a vaccine because this thing is not stable.
Right.
And that's why we've never had a vaccine against the common cold. And that's why there was never a vaccine against SARS-CoV-1. If you remember that thing when it came flying through town, the SARS epidemic, and that was, it could have been a lockdown during that, but we didn't do that.
No, we stopped testing.
Right, we stopped. Well, no, we stopped testing on H1N1.
Oh, it was H1N1. You're right.
We never
even tested on that. No, why bother?
And so there was never a vaccine for that. If you can't do a vaccine for SARS-CoV-1, how are you going to do the other one? Which these are lab designs. There's different reasons for it. We've talked about it before. Other people have talked about it. Nobody wants to discuss it. It's a chimera.
Okay, stop. Stephen Mosier wants to discuss it specifically.
The China virus definitely was not a freak of nature that happened to cross the species barrier from bat to man. It was genetically engineered in the Wuhan Institute of Virology's P4 lab, the high containment lab, P4 lab, in a program supervised by the Chinese military. And he calls it a chimera. It's an organism created in a lab. The Wuhan lab was actually built by the French. The French came in and set up this P4 lab at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. We advised against it because we said this is highly sensitive, dangerous technology. We might not want to be handing it over to the Chinese. The French, being the French, went ahead and did it anyway. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was in February of 2017, after which the French were shown the door, and no French scientists were ever allowed back in the lab. But the French are involved. The French are also involved because the head of the P4 lab, Dr. Shi Zhongli, whom we've talked about before at great length, Dr. Shi was at the Pasteur Institute in France, and that's where she learned about how to insert pieces of the AIDS virus into other viruses to make them more pathogenic, to make them more dangerous. So the French are involved.
That's kind of interesting how the French are not even brought up at all in this story.
Well, this is news to me. The only thing French that came was that French Nobel Prize winning doctor who looked at the genetic sequence and immediately saw what it was, and then everyone called him a crackpot.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe this will help us understand in part 2 of this, as the U.S. is, of course, also complicit.
And the Americans are involved as well. Professor Ralph Barrick of the University of North Carolina was on the receiving end of major grants from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. This, of course, is Dr. Anthony Fauci's shop. He's a big proponent of gain-of-function research. He has been since at least 2011, when he published an article in the Washington Post advocating for it. And when this was stopped at Professor Barrick's lab, they moved the research to China. So Professor Barrick and some American virologists have been involved in the lab in past years. But this is what happened. As soon as this research, as soon as this virus began to show dangerous properties, the virus was more infectious, the virus was more dangerous. Immediately, the People's Liberation Army bioweapons people got involved. And I can tell you as a China expert exactly why that happened. It happened because everything in China is dual-use technology. Everything in China follows the rule of let the civilians support the military. So as soon as this civilian vaccine project at the Wuhan Institute of Virology showed promise, the military moved in and said, oh, this has military potential. And then who did you have come on the scene? You had people like General Chun Wei, the head of the PLA's bioweapons program. You had other people who were involved in the PLA's bioweapons program going into the lab and working with Dr. Scher, who basically lost control of her own project.
So if you take all those pieces together, the strain that we got, and whether it was a mutation, and I guess it was actually much more contagious than what took place in Wuhan itself. We really got screwed in this deal.
Yeah, I would say, and it looks like an act of war if you're going to take all these factors into account. That's one of the reasons nobody wants to talk about it being a created product, because we don't really want to deal with the aspects of, well, was it an accident? Did they do it on purpose? Why are they doing it at all? Well, what kind of research are they up to? Trump by the way, I should mention the one little aspect, because I've been writing an essay on this myself, pretty much with the same information, which is that, they keep saying it's a bat or it's this or it's that. Nobody can find an animal with this virus naturally occurring within the animals.
No.
There's no bat with this virus.
So what, you're going to write an essay about this being a chimera created in a lab, possibly a biological weapon by China?
I'm not going with the biological weapon thesis. I'm going with the thesis that it was an accident.
Okay. That's good, because then you only get canceled halfway. Nice knowing you, Dvorak. Go ahead, publish a piece everyone can point to.
I'll be on Cosmic Weenie.
Yeah, I know, but people are going to point to it and tweet it. And you know what it's going to be. You know what they're going to say.
We've talked about it on the show. Pretty much the essay has been discussed in its entirety on this show.
I know, but why, man? Why would you write that down? Why would you leave a permanent record so easy to virally distribute?
It's because people need to realize that we're being buffaloed with the official stories.
Well, maybe I can help get people interested.
There is no bat with this virus.
Maybe I can get the younger people interested in your work, since they are now also on deck. Everybody! Woohoo! Your Vaped Crusader is here to save the day. Yes, we have urgent headlines. Everyone is emailing me. We've got USA Today, big, bold, black letters. We've got news reports.
It's not uncommon for Wake County teens to vape or have friends who vape.
I have a couple friends that do use it, and especially classmates and those around me, they constantly vape.
According to a new study from Stanford University, teens and young adults who vape are 5 to 7 times more likely to get COVID-19.
The fact that a lot of teenagers have that belief that, we're not going to be affected by COVID because we're really young. I think that study completely changed things around, and it showed us that, no, we can all face COVID.
Doctors say the reason those who vape could be more prone to COVID-19 is because some share their devices with others, and e-cigarette use can cause lung damage.
Okay, that was just a mild headline. Oh, man, they took it to another level. Wait, no. Bear with me. You'll ask questions after you hear this report.
Illinois Representative Roger Krishnamurthy is renewing his call for a ban on e-cigarettes, at least for the duration of the pandemic.
Yeah, that comes in response to a new Stanford University study showing young people who smoke or use e-cigarettes are 5 to 7 times more likely to contract COVID-19. Krishnamurthy wants the FDA to require e-cigarettes be removed totally from shelves.
Oh, no! You're going to die of the COVID, kids! We've got a study to prove it! Do you think anyone sent me even a link to the study? No. Did you have a question?
Did you find the study?
Of course I found the study, and I read the study.
I do have a question. If you remember back again, we're going to jump back to February, March.
Mm-hmm.
When the first COVID stuff started being, they always found it was an interesting anomaly. If you kind of remember this, we had clips. It was an anomaly that smokers were less likely to get COVID. You remember that?
Yes, of course I remember that. And there was,
how did that change all of a sudden?
There was also a study that propylglycol, which is the main ingredient of vaping, I think I'm saying that right, propylglycol, I think that's what it is, that used in theater mist, it's an actual medical study that showed it kills coronavirus on contact. So if you're vaping and you get some coronavirus in your nasal passages, you might actually kill it. But no one ever, we talked about that. No one ever did the study. So I went to look at the study. Oh my goodness. It's from Stanford. It's from Stanford. Well, no, it's not from Stanford. Stanford was reporting on it. The actual study is from the Journal of Health, Journal of Adolescent Health, Association between Youth Smoking, Electronic Cigarette Use, and Coronavirus Disease 2019. Results. COVID-19 diagnosis 5 times more likely for people who exclusively use e-cigarettes.
Wait. This is from 2019?
Yeah, John, I know. No, it's not from. It's COVID-19.
Oh, COVID. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, this is from May.
May.
People who are dual users, which means you smoke cigarettes and you use use a vape. So it's a dual user. You're more like 6.8% times more likely to get COVID. And if you smoke, well, it's actually 8 times more likely to get COVID. So forget that we heard that wasn't true in the beginning. Who knows? That may have changed. What no one mentions is, oh, by the way, you're 8 times more likely to get COVID if you smoke cigarettes. Oh, no one mentioned that. Why? Why the state Illinois? The state of Illinois is part of the big master services agreement. They need people smoking in order, because every cancer patient they get is tallied against this huge payout they're getting from the tobacco companies. We've been through this several times. You can look at the master states agreement, and to offset people smoking less, they came up with all these financial instruments, which were kind of based on, well, we're going to get these payouts for all these people over time, and people started to smoke less and less tobacco, some moving to vape, so they have to kill off the vape entirely and introduce the IQOS, I Quit Ordinary Smoking, which just 15 days ago got the FDA nod to be marketed as an MRTP, which is a modified risk tobacco product. But what is this study? What actually did they do? Well, it was an online web survey that would take approximately 20 minutes, and 4,000 people signed up, and that's how they came up with this scientific evidence.
It's just an online self-selecting survey?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's useless.
But did you hear how it was reported? Oh, we got to ban it. We got to ban it.
Well, yeah, we obviously knew how it was reported, and it's the way it's going to be reported. But who was behind it? That's the other thing.
Well, I would
what
say...
tobacco company sponsored this self-selecting online survey that became published in one of the journals?
Well, there's only really one that matters anymore, which is, the formerly known as Philip Morris. They're the ones that wrote off their Juul purchase. There was a disclaimer in here that some funding. Let me see. It was from some institute, and I presume that funding sources. The research reported in this article was supported by the Taube, Taube, Taube Research Faculty Scholar Endowment to Bonnie Halpern Felsher. Additional grant support from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute and the Food and Drug Administration Center for Tobacco Products. How could the FDA even put their stamp on something like this? And how much did they have to pay for
all these people for an online survey?
A web survey.
Just sign up for Survey Monkey and do it yourself.
Exactly. So I don't know. Maybe someone can help with the Taube. That actually. Okay. That's a Stanford deal. Okay. So its funding came through some endowment at Stanford, and they farmed it out to the Journal of Online Health people who did an online survey. It's unbelievable. So I would say this is a scam, and just pay attention. This is your... you can use this as, what do we call that? It's the Gelman amnesia effect. And people who understand vaping, who've heard about this, who've listened to the show, you're going to see these headlines. People won't read them. They'll just say, oh, man, you catch COVID 5 times quicker, man. And the gall of them to say between 5 and 7 times, because they didn't say if you also smoke cigarettes, you have a higher percentage that you could catch. No. They just say 5 to 7. It's obviously a PR ploy.
Well, that's the way it's done. We've talked about this many a time that we should do something like this.
If you don't listen to
Send
No
out
Agenda,
a press release and say people who listen to long format podcasts live longer.
Excuse me. People, that's actually not bad. People who listen to 3 hours of podcasts, no, we got to come up with the right messaging. We can do this.
Long format, that's, 2 hours plus.
I mean, I would prefer it just be people who listen to No Agenda just don't die.
Well, you can't ever do that.
They don't die.
I mean, that used to fly back in the day, but no longer.
Okay. I just want to say, I think that's fair. People who listen to No Agenda live longer. Proof.
They probably do.
Yeah. It was just, that one really, I thought that was so interesting. And I'm sure that USA Today took money for it. And it looks like one of these local, like I've seen on local stations. So I have a feeling
it's probably a video press release that went out.
No, I think it's a local buy. I mean, I don't think it's a video. No, they're reading the story.
Oh, okay. Well, then this is just a press release.
It's maybe a native ad.
Maybe. I mean, that's a long shot as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, we're going to advertise our new device on all of your affiliate stations. We'd like you to.
That's not native advertising. That is just kind of just a plain convincer. Look, we're going to spend a lot of money, but that's not the same as native advertising.
Okay, it's pre-native advert. It's
pre-advertising. You don't even do a native ad.
Whatever it is, it's not news.
Don't do native ads for this bull crap when it comes out. You can be sure.
Now, can I just tell you the reason why? The number one reason why, according to this study, why there's that huge increase of possibility of contracting COVID.
Why?
When you hear that, what do you think? You think, oh, wow, it's about the smoking. It's about the inhaling, right?
Well, I thought they said it's because of passing the thing around and you catch somebody else's spit.
The number one is because people who vape touch their face more. That's the conclusion of the study.
Really?
Yes. That's the conclusion. It's not about what you're inhaling that says, inhaling vape and tobacco is not good for your health anyway. But the problem is people are touching their face. And that's what this headline is about. Instead of, kids, if you're vaping, you shouldn't vape, but don't touch your face. But no, we're not going to help any citizens out with any news they can use. Let's scare them.
Huh. Yep. That's our news media. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? They suck.
Okay, that's a good opening clip. Excellent. Well, we don't suck. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in cigarettes are just as bad as vaping, John C. Dvorak. That wasn't
well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Yes, and a hearty and hello big in the morning to the trolls in the troll room. Let me count you. Hands up, trolls. 1557. Yeah, we're good. We've been constantly about over that 15 on Thursdays. 1518 is kind of our mark for the second Thursday. Yeah, the troll room is where you can hang out during the live shows. There's also podcasts on the stream that you listen to simultaneously. It's like a multimedia type deal. You're listening to the podcast. You're trolling along with your other trolls in the troll room. While you're there, ask Doug, anyone can tell you how to do it, for an invite to noagendasocial.com. It's really true. We say that consistently. So don't just go there. Get an invite from the troll room. That hurdle is there for a reason. And sign up for noagendasocial.com. This is our federated social network. A great signal-to-noise ratio. And I know, but people love it because it was down for a little bit a day or two ago. And the amount of freak out that I see shows that people really do enjoy it. So go have a look. No Agenda Show. No Agenda Social. Then we would like to thank our artist for episode 1267. We titled that one The Trust Stamp. And it was Darren O'Neill, who came in with a simple but very effective Great Reset button. It looks dynamite on a white background webpage. And honestly, I think we should say that, remember, this is album art, so when you see it on your screen and you're working on it, it may look great, but it's going to be quite tiny everywhere it's posted. It's really only 512 by 512. That's pretty much the dimensions that it has, and in most podcast apps, it'll be even smaller.
Yeah, it'll be shrunken down.
So people were doing way too much imagery, gaggery, letters. You know, like the Monopoly art was a nice idea, but that doesn't translate. You don't see even colors.
All the gags that are in there, you
don't see the gags. It's very hard, very very hard.
Well, I would also mention the piece that was done that appeared next to Darren's piece by Darren, which is The Purchase Denied, which is the one you liked actually better, until I kind of talked you out of it. I talked you off the ledge.
You did. You did.
Let me just see. It's a lot of small type. It's a funny gag, but it's not attractive compared to the reset button.
Oh, this was the your payment method was declined. Please get the COVID-19 vaccination. Try your purchase again.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was funny from an iPhone perspective because it was the iPhone dialogue. But you did talk me off the ledge, and you were right. And that's exactly what happens as an artist. I'm sure you're looking at it like, it's great, I'll put this in, and you kind of lose sight of the fact that it's going to be pretty small. Man, the No Agenda, I have to blow it up to even see what it says. I can't even read our names. It's too bad because, there's a lot of good, so the No Agenda Monopoly Board, which if you haven't, you should look at it. Every single place that's a property is funny. So you've got the Black Lives Matter with Trump Tower.
Even if you blow up to full size,
you still can't see it.
You can't see it.
I would love to have that on the wall as a poster.
It'd be a nice big piece of it. Yeah. Like 1 foot by, let's say 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet, 18 inches by 18 inches. I'm sure it'd be hilarious.
It'd be beautiful.
Be a nice poster.
Yes. on the wall. So, noagendaartgenerator.com if you too want to be critiqued for all the mistakes you make. And once in a while,
we do that now. It's one of our new things.
It's not one of our new things, but we take it seriously. There's so much work that comes in. And please, everybody, go to noagendaartgenerator.com. Look at submitted art. You could just see thousands and thousands. And you can see
some of the filthy pieces we pass over.
Yeah, that's in there too. I mean, we're up to 17,268 pieces of artwork in the art generator. 10 times as much, more than 10 times than we have episodes. Thank you so much, Darren. Thank you to all the artists for bringing us the value. Even just being able to talk about it is valuable. Having the, using our brains to figure out what'll work best, what pops. Thank you so much. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. We really do appreciate it, as we do in our value for value system with executive producers and associate executive producers who have supported the show financially. Could not do it without that, because we just can't do this show with any other form of funding. And we're going to thank them right now.
Well, we could, but the show would stink.
The show would suck. And we should do it one time. We should just do a show with ads and no donations. Just phony ads. We'll just
you mean some phony ads?
Yeah, like every 15 minutes.
But we're not doing that today.
No.
And we're starting by thanking people, including Jeffrey Rosen, who came in with $1,000.
Wow.
And add your short comment, here's what it's like the empty box. I looked up Rosen. I looked up donations to find him. I could not find anything. So unless you have a note from him, he's going to have to send something else in to get his note read.
Let me just double check for 1 second. Rosen.
You can double check while I
you go to the next one. Sure.
Anonymous, $433.33. This donation makes up for the show's cut from the dream job I landed. Makes up the show's cut from the dream job I landed after receiving NA Jobs Karma. It worked. I threw in an extra $100 that would have gone to supporting projects, but those douchebags seem more concerned about changing the language of their application to conform with acceptable community guidelines by removing words like master and blacklist. Apparently, because he's going to buy some software. He was disgusted with the ownership. The ways to file complaints about them using their privilege don't seem to work. When I saw an ad that said, consider donations to these organizations that were all BLM, I made my mind up to donate to No Agenda instead. I challenge all producers to do the same.
Nice.
Jingles, Rebelizer. He says Rebelizer, but I think Rebelizer, maybe. I don't know. Rebelizer. Double karma for my sister and her special needs dog.
Okay, the Rebelizer, and what was the other thing? I'm sorry.
Just double karma.
Oh, a double karma. A double karma. Okay. Well, an X-ray. I'll do a goat karma. That always seems to help. And I had no luck on Jeffrey Rosen.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by. 33, 33, 33. Rebelizer out.
You've got karma.
There you go.
Jeffrey Gunnar Walter in San Francisco, California, 33333. He wrote in a note from an email, which I grabbed and printed.
Groovy.
My name is Gunnar.
Hey, Gunnar.
And I was introduced to your podcast through my friend Talon Hutch. He goes by the gamer tag Tay Slaughterer.
Oh, I've seen him in World of Warcraft.
We were going to have a race to see who would donate first to call the other out as a douchebag. But he has recently had a second unexpected human resource learn to pull out man, and I thought I'd help a brother out. $100 goes towards your knighthood, my good man. Thank you for introducing me to this epic shit. A couple of de-douchings, please.
You've been de-douched.
As your bumper sticker, no agenda. It's epic shit.
You've been de-douched.
I'm in Portland at the moment helping my parents get the family house ready to sell, not COVID related. I noticed that 90% of the people walking around outside are not wearing masks. compared to San Francisco, where I'm living now. Before I came up to Portland, I was yelled at by a lady across the street who said, "Hey, wear a mask, save a life." I threw up in my hands and yelled back, "We're outside, you idiot," and pointed to my brain. My parents live in a quiet part of town, so nothing crazy to report so far. Can I get a little Queen of Vocal Fry? You can dig that one up. That's I think that's a New York Times lady. I can't remember her name for some unknown reason. You guys are the best, Gunner.
What's her name again?
What was her name? I
know how to find her. There's one. The original is this it? What is this? That's not what I'm looking for.
I don't think that's it.
Yeah, but
obviously, I read the New York Times like all day long, mainly on my iPad app.
And what else did he want?
Now she. Sorry. What else did he want? He just wanted some. I threw the note away already.
Oh no! I'll just give him some karma. That should do it.
You've got karma.
No, I didn't want anything. Nothing.
Well, extra. Read all about. Hey, Sir Dave, Duke of America's Heartland and the Arabian Peninsula. Good day, gentlemen. Please accept my latest contribution to the cause. And he sends us $333. Thank you very much. Still, I believe he's locked up. Still in Saudi Arabia. Here's some info requested on the last show, if it's not yet been explained. G2. Yes, someone said they wanted to hang out with the Keeper and I and get the G2 on Austin, and many people, it just goes to show, many people said, dude, that's military intelligence, G2, you should know that. It's interesting how many people said that to me, John. I imagine the producer emigrating to Austin, would like you to prepare him something called an IPB. Yes, an intelligence preparation of the battlefield, which will cover the weather, enemy situation, go, slow go, and no-go zones, etc. So, Adam, you'd best get on that. Done. Hajj this year was limited to just 10,000 as opposed to the normal 2.5 million. Yes, this is what we were questioning if Anonymous of Dogpatch had been to that. Pilgrims had to arrive early enough to do health checks and endure a 2-week quarantine dedication. Once the pilgrimage started, they were color-coded using umbrellas, backpacks, and such, and maintained masking, social distancing, frequent temperature checks throughout the entire process. Saudi Arabia really does an incredible job executing this annual event, which is an epic logistical undertaking. Adjusting for such a small number must have been quite refreshing. I spent the Hajj Eid holiday. How do I pronounce Hajj? Is it Eid? It's Eid, isn't it?
Yeah, Eid. That's another celebration.
Doing some boots on the ground photography around the northwest part of the kingdom and accepting rides from random strangers, like Mom told me to. I saw more of this stunning country, ate some delicious goat, probably a white one, and best of all, finally got to experience the frenetic majesty of our local camel race. This was a bucket list item and a top-tier travel experience. Ibrahim, one of the random strangers, even named his 2-year-old racing camel after me, at least for that one race. Camel Dave came in 6th place in case anyone was wondering. Finally, Jobs Karma seems to have worked as we've been given verbal confirmation that we've been unfired, yay, and remaining employed until the end of the year. Just in case, however, please hit me again, as I am unwilling to take any chances until I see something official in writing. And that is from Sir Dave, Duke of America's Heartland and the Arabian Peninsula. And I have an additional note that he sent, a request for his daughter, Dame Isabella. Special karma for her as she is switching schools this year. And we'd love to get her started off right with some new school karma. That, of course, requires a goat.
You've got karma.
And on a personal note, he is a photographer, and he's been posting stuff on Twitter, including the camel race. He made this beautiful shot somewhere in where he was in these travels, hitching rides from strangers, And the keeper fell in love with it. She said, I want to buy it. He sent it to her, just sent it to her. Beautiful print, ready for framing. This guy is so, and he hasn't seen his own family for what, 6 years now, I think?
No. Yeah, pretty much.
He's been locked up.
It's been a while.
He's been locked up, man. That is so wrong. So wrong. Well, karma from all of us. And we look forward to seeing you guys in Austin again when you get out.
Next on the list is Michael Harrington from Grand Canyon, Arizona, 333. First and foremost, it's been months since I last donated, so I humbly request a good de-douching.
Got it.
You've been de-douched.
The shows have been highly entertaining and insightful, and I thoroughly enjoy listening to them as I hike around the Grand Teton National Park, receiving dirty looks from fellow hikers wearing masks as I refuse to participate in the sheep charade. You're outside hiking. I recently finished reading the sci-fi novel Doomsday Book, published in 1992, about a time traveler and a global pandemic. Incidentally, on page 336, and in a forward-looking nod to Banyan, the phrase extreme unction appears.
Unction, yeah.
I highly recommend the book to the No Agenda audience. It's a Doomsday. I don't know who wrote it. Please keep up the great work and know that the grizzly bears are forced to listen to you guys as I play the download from my phone on speakers to alert the bears of my presence on the trail instead of me constantly yelling, "Hey, bear!" like some backcountry jerk. Thank you for your courage. You know, if you can get a little methyl mercaptan, carry it with you, I think you'd be...
Methyl what?
Methyl mercaptan.
What's this?
There's two elements to skunk scent.
Oh.
It's methyl mercaptan and dicrotyl sulfide. And methyl mercaptan gives an odor that was probably... The bear could probably smell it a mile away, and they stay away.
Is this something you can also use on Antifa?
Well, having that in a sprayer would do the trick, but you're going to get some on you, and that's really a problem. I mean, this stuff will leach through glass. It's really smelly.
Oh, my.
Anyway, I humbly request a jobs karma for all.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
All right, thanks, Corey.
Corey Sherman in Columbus, Ohio, 333. My name is Corey Sherman, and I donated 333.33. It doesn't show that as such, but okay. First-time donor, long-time bonus, so I do require a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
I was hit in the mouth in 2016 by one of my best friends, Seth. I'd like to call him out as a douchebag. As he has not donated in a while. COVID has been a real SOB for me and my fellow barbers and hairdressers, so a jobs karma is appreciated. Can I please get a "This Will Kill You," 2 to the head, and a "Look at That Juice"? Another story to be told. Thank you guys for keeping my amygdala small during these unprecedented times. I try to hit everyone in the mouth that is willing to listen, and I'll never stop.
This will kill you.
Oh my gosh. Can you see that juice?
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
You can take this one.
This is from Stas Gomberg, 32133. Very nice. Look, here's the deal. My buddies and I are on the way, excuse me, to my bachelor party, and I thought, what better time to assert my privilege over the group than by becoming a knight? Clearly, I'm doing the work. Yes, we love that. Speaking of doing the work, please call out my buddies. I gotta do it. Marcelo. Douchebag. Boris. Douchebag. And Vlad. Douchebag. Marcelo hit me in the mouth over a year and a half ago, and I haven't missed a show since. Wish I could have learned about No Agenda prior, since I've been a skeptic of the M5M since I can remember, and an avid hater of the M5M since I decided dogs on cars and binders full of women were the biggest gripes for a presidential candidate. Oh, yes, binders full of women. Oh, how far we've come, or not. Now more than ever, I seemingly can't get away from the M5M talking points as they permeate into every nook and cranny of our culture. Individualism and open discussion have taken a back seat to activism, while dissent is now radicalism and silence is, of course, violence. The cultural pendulum has swung 180 degrees from the McCarthyism of the 1950s, and no stoppage to the hammering of the noodle gun is in sight for fear of losing the movement's momentum. The result? The rest of us, simply trying to humbly make a content life for ourselves, have become despondent, feeling it's just not worth the potential ruckus to speak our minds. And that is where you two on the No Agenda Show have swooped in to ease the melancholy, providing a twice-weekly respite from the obtuse and unreasonable. So thank you. I realize this is turning into War and Peace, so briefly, I emailed you both earlier this pandemic about choosing a mic for more regular virtual court appearances. As I'd hoped, you fought over what the best choice was. The advice helped. I went with John's recommendation. He did this not on a single thread. He asked me separately. What did you recommend?
I don't know.
No.
I probably recommended a PR40 for him.
And that's what's interesting, because I remember this note, and he said, we're looking at a PR40. I said, yeah, that seems to be the right one. Maybe it's a different note.
No, maybe I said something different. I don't know. I can't.
Maybe I said something. That's what I remember. Anyways, I've tried hitting my sizzling sweet fiance, Giuliana, in the mouth, but Dvorak's, let's call it at times, insensitivity, borders on triggering her. Notwithstanding, she still asks what the No Agenda guys have to say on a topic. She's a keeper. Her birthday is today, August 13th. If you would, please add her to the list. Yes, she's added for the roundtable, Manhattans and marijuana. You got that one added. And thank you for your courage. Gratefully soon to be knight, Sir Gomberg of the Northeast Legal Isles. And we look forward to seeing you at the roundtable. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. And go easy on her. That's all I would say.
Insensitivity.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's possible.
I mean,
when you get to a certain age, you just don't put up with
it. And you're allowed to. I think it's when you say that woman. I think that's the problem.
That woman.
That's the trigger. That woman.
You think? I don't remember ever saying that woman.
Okay.
Well, and what was in reference to who?
That woman.
Okay. Well, I guess.
Probably some horrible woman.
Horrible?
Uh-huh. He got it. Keith Larson.
All right. Well, that would be Kamala. Keith Larson, Long Lake, Minnesota Nuts, 250, becomes associate executive producer. And he wrote a note in on email, and I have printed it out.
Okay.
Hi, John. Love your show. I actually did work today.
Wait a minute.
I love your show. I was hitting the mouth by...
Whoa. Hey, John, love your show? What am I?
That's what he said.
I'm out of the script now?
No, he said, hi, John, love your show. I think he meant your show.
Oh.
I was hit in the mouth by... You're out of the script. I'm just reading that note. Hi, John. Love the show. Why is a jet flying over the house?
To land at SFO?
No, this is like some fighter jet. It's got too
much it's going to take you out.
Yeah. When the Osprey flew over, I thought I was through.
Really? But those are very, very noisy.
Oh, you tell me about it.
Oh.
It's the noisiest thing that ever flew over the area. Anyway, hi, John. Love the show. I was hit in the mouth by Ken Benson, douchebag.
Oh.
Douchebag.
Sorry.
About 3 months ago, I too am a douchebag, but after 3 months of not missing an episode, I calculated my value of $1,000 per year, so I made a donation of $250.
Wow.
Sorry it wasn't 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's okay.
To get me on the pace for knighthood in 1 year. He needs a de-douching, I guess.
Yeah.
You've been de-douched.
In anticipation of knighthood, I'd like to reserve the name of Sir Anti-Yosemite, if that is allowed. Of course you can.
Is he on today's list?
No, he's coming up.
It's coming up.
He's only
I love Sir Yosemite.
Yosemite.
This is very funny.
If that is allowed. In any case, I'd like to point out that all Minnesotans are not left-wing defund police morons.
Oh, come on. Yes,
Norwood
you are.
and Young America were two towns that merged but couldn't come up with a new name, so they just combined them.
Right.
Norwood Young, I guess.
It's kind of like
couldn't
Parks
come up with a new name. And that Ken Benson is still a douchebag. Yeah, we got that. I request a de-douching. You got that. And the jobs karma for me and my smoking hot girlfriend being a COVID-era listener. I am looking forward to what you have to discuss after coronavirus. Trump and Sleepy Joe are no longer the news. Keep up the good work, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
Okay. And onward with Baron Oleg Rakuten. Rakuten. 240.77 in Thornhill, Ontario, Canada. Baron, which makes him probably has to be upgraded, I'm thinking, if this is Canadian. I mean, if this is American from Canadian.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll check
my
that.
My foxy hot wife, Daria. How do you pronounce that name?
Let me see.
Daria. And I are celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. Could not wish for a better person to spend my life with. And it says I started listening to the show since the Wuhan virus scamdemic, and she has not missed a show since, sometimes listening episodes ahead of me. I think it's time to put her on a path to damehood. Please credit this donation to her name. We'll put her on the list instead of you. Thank you for keeping us sane in these crazy times. For jingles, all we want is family karma.
I think it's probably 333. Let me see, 240. Let me see, 240. No, if he was doing 333, that would be. Yes, I think he's like 333. So he goes in the exec. Yeah, he goes in the exec pile. I already marked it up. You good, man? You good? And he needs karma. Yes, we got that too.
You've got karma.
Anonymous comes in 23456 from Bulverde, Texas. No agenda is essential to developing a herd immunity to the M5M.
Yes, to some degree. Note. Dave Kaplan. You want me to do this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
228.
He needs to be bumped up too.
Oh, he's also Scandinavian. Yeah, he came.
No, isn't he Australian?
Oh, dollar dues. Yes. Wow. Okay, Dave Kaplan. From New South Wales. 228 and 56. So I'm pretty sure that's a 300. So he goes up to the execs. 333 Australian dollars. There you go. Jeez, you guys get screwed. 333 Australian dollars, 228 US. Holy crap. Interesting boots on the ground. Data 19 from Down Under. Yes, we saw that. Thank you very much, Dave. We discussed it. Key points. He says, geez, he's got like production notes. Request up front jobs karma for my luscious and divine wife, Lisa, and her emergent landscape design business. Jingles, China's a-hole. It's true. And 2 to the head. Oh, geez. I wasn't ready for that one. ITM, Adam and John and Adam, with this, my third 333.33 Australian dollar dues, accounting below. Plus 1 penny, please, Adam. Yes, I got you covered. I would like to claim my place at the No Agenda Roundtable as Sir Capo of Gunya Beach, down under. Sir Capo of Gunya Beach, down under. Gunya, yes. John Gunya, not Gunya. Speaking of butchering, I'd like to request thick, juicy rib eye on the steak on the bone, cooked medium rare on an Aussie-style barbecue, and the bottle of 1999 E&E Black Pepper Shiraz from the Barossa Valley at the round table. Okay, you're a dick. Don't do this. What the hell? You think I can get that in like 30 minutes? I can't get that fast. You know what's going to happen now? We've been bitching about the notes.
Well, he didn't have the brand name, so you should be able to pick that up at the local liquor store.
Oh, okay, that's good. But you see, we don't have we moan about people's notes being too long. So now that's like, oh, let me put a long thing at the round table. It's showing.
Well, in many cases, there's always a long thing at the round table.
And that's how we roll here at the No Agenda Show. Thanks for all you do. Your doing of the work makes a huge positive difference to all of us producers and D-bags. While I wish you health, wealth, and happiness, I really hope you keep making the best podcast in the universe, even after whichever exit strategy pops. 3 gems for you in the email. Got it. Thanks for your courage, Sir Kappa of Gunya Beach down under. And so I just need to grab his asshole, which I didn't have yet. And he wanted to, that's true. Gosh, the accounting on this show. And then he wanted one other thing, didn't he? Let me just check. Asshole, 2 to the head. Okay, we'll do that. I've got that. Where's my 2 to the head? There it is.
China is asshole.
That's true.
Oh, that was weird. I didn't hear it. Let me play it again. No, throw in a karma for you. Thank you.
You've got karma.
I never should have taken that donation. I had way too much to do for it.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sir Stephen or Stefan, probably Stephen of Oswego, Barron in Oswego, Illinois, 222.22. He writes, donating after finding out back in March my job of 23 years was going away on 8/31. Today they came back with an offer to stay until 12/31/2021 at 1.5x salary.
Wow.
Plus my 6-month severance. Kind of an operation are you working for?
Sounds groovy.
Mevio. It's a birthday show day. 8/13 means I damn well better cough up for the karma that worked at least for a year and a half. Still need some amazing girlfriend karma, but the job karma came first. That's what she said. Baron Stephen.
I'm going to give it to him again.
Jobs,
just in
jobs,
case.
and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
Sir Mr. Peabody's next up. 22222 in Jonesboro, Arkansas. As promised earlier, thanks for the email exchange donation toward my wicked smart and cougarlicious partner, Miss Vicky's damehood. 2 jingles, 1 request. Pot calls kettle black. Dr. Kiki's It's Science. Could one of the other highly talented producers come up with a fuck COVID jingle? Regardless if it's the illness, the economy, or just amygdalas. I think we can all agree it's effed up our entire year, 2020. I agree. We can all agree. So,
hello,
that's
Kettle.
it.
This is the pot calling.
Shut up already. It's science.
There we go.
She says courage.
Courage.
Leanne Webb comes in at Riverside, California, 1954. ITM and blessings. This donation is in honor of my gorgeous knight in shining armor, God-fearing Prince Charming Steve Webb.
Oh, yeah.
He's the most wonderful and best husband and lady could dream of. He's been my greatest support, best friend, and handyman. He usually worked 2 or more jobs so that I could stay home raising and homeschooling our sons. He's so involved in the boys' life, Sunday school teacher, baseball, pack leader, and Cub Scouts, and the list goes on. Amazing. Our life has definitely been changed by the both of you. Adam, you helped to support our Life Spring podcast by taking Steve on with the Mevio group. He was the first non-repurposed Christian podcaster.
Yep.
Steve does his best to hit people in the heart and show them that Christ is the truth. John, you were always Steve's favorite on Tech TV and Twit, and he enjoyed your publications. You have both helped to educate us in many ways over the years. Thank you. I did one time. Every member of the family had a podcast going. I even did Your Wedding Your Way on the Mevio Network. Your inspiration, Timothy, our youngest, who came with us in his Cub Scout uniform to our first meeting with you around the pool in Ontario, California, over 14 years ago. Since then, Tim has grown married, and has hit his lovely bride in the mouth. Nice. Steve said, known each other. Steve and I have known each other for 34 years. He hired me, and I've been blissfully married for 30 years. We have not, we're not rich in dollars, as life has thrown us many curves, but we are rich in love and blessings from God, and have 2 wonderful human resources who have married and added 2 more beautiful human resources. I asked for Donald Trump jobs karma as Steve's voice overwork can always use more growth. And Tim and Valerie are Disney World employees waiting for the call back. Our other daughter-in-law is a private photographer and has many cancellations due to Rona. As for the other people, I know that Steve thinks that Sharpton things are funny. Thank you again, and keep up the good work. Blessings and love to both of you.
All right.
RESPICT. Jobs, jobs, jobs.
You've got karma.
Jeffrey Baker's in...
I want to thank Leanne. She made sure she emailed this several times to me to make sure this got on the air. And I'm glad you did. Here we are. Worked.
Jeffrey Baker in Atlanta, Georgia, 20199. Working on a large sale, and I need a supersized dose of sales karma. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
All right, supersized. Bring out the goat. Bring out the goat.
You've got karma.
I mean, if you really need it, we got it.
Roderick Lenhart in Charlotte, North Carolina, 201-57-54. ITM, I've been meaning to donate for a few months, so now I'm returning from the Wuhan flu, but alas, work has gotten the better of me. To my surprise, I was only $75 away from knighthood since starting to donate in 2014, so my donation is in 4 parts. He's got some accounting. And he says 69 cents for Rocky Foster, who has yet to donate and continues sinking further into the douche abyss. I think you have to call him out for that. 125 for Emma Foster, who's only 2, and it goes on. If people haven't been over to see the No Agenda masks so that they can silently punch people in the mouths in line at the grocery store, shame on them. Keep up the good work, boys. I included a pic of my egregiously attractive wife, Leslie. Happy early anniversary. Happy early anniversary. Can I get a dating karma for my buddy Brett and a goat karma for all the dames and knights out there? Adam, I would love to hear Joe Biden, the whole load, 2 to the head, and look at that juice. Love and light. Sir Roderick of Flavortown. And he needs he wants Imperials and Chicharrones at the table.
Classy.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
Oh my gosh. Can you see that juice?
You've got karma.
We go on to Jethro Jones. And he is in Spokane, Washington. As we start to wrap this up, this is a pretty good list.
Yeah.
$200, 23 cents. First, the de-douching.
Oh, you got it.
You've been de-douched.
I'm a former school principal, and I was surprised by your concern last show about education. The pandemic is great news for education because it will force education to change, hopefully. Adam, did you take a class to invent podcasting? Could a class have taught you to do that? Certainly not. Your pirate radio station would have gotten you suspended. What we need in education is more opportunities for kids to get in and mess around with stuff they care about. That's what real education is. That's why the school I'm creating now is about helping kids do just that. And he has a web address, sdl.academy.
Oh, that looks interesting. Let me see.
Easy enough, sdl.academy. Huh. Our education system is all about control and compliance. It's not about learning. What I find crazy is all the work I did 2 years ago to get school principals in my district to change the dress code and finally allow kids to wear hoods and hats, mostly. And now all the kids will be wearing masks. That just cracks me up. Talk about poetic justice. Also, No Agenda has helped me to be more critical and increase my faith in Jesus and the Church of Latter-day Saints, not pushed me away from it.
Oh. Wait. No Agenda Show. It brings you closer to God.
We could do a survey.
4,000 people on the web.
Green Jello and carrots jingle request. That's true, Jethro from Spokane, Washington.
Wait, just once that's true?
No, isn't there some green? He said he's got hashtag green Jello and carrots. Oh, okay. Green Jello and carrots. That is a Mormon dessert.
Right, but we don't have a jingle from that, do we?
No, he just puts it in there.
Oh. Yeah, hey man, green Jello and carrots to you too.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that in. I'm just going to start using that. Hey, see you around, buddy. All right, green Jell-O and carrots.
So you can get a that's true and a give a karma. True. Martin Williams.
You've got karma.
Green Jell-O and carrots.
Martin Williamson in Aberdeen, UK, 200. And he wrote a note in by email. John and Adam, thanks for producing the best podcast in the universe. I have been listening quite a few years now. Can you please play the whole load? Then, okay, this is the whole load from Biden. Mm-hmm. And then Trump aroused.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Well, that's it. Oh, that is easy. And no other karmas, just though, too. Here we go.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
You pervs. Just pervy.
Stephen Schnuel.
No, he has a pronunciation guide for us.
Okay.
We're Chanelli. Okay.
Hey, Chanelli.
Shanene.
Hey, Chanelli.
Chanelli, meet Shanene.
Rocky Mount, North Carolina, another North Carolinian. We're loaded with them. $200 even. I haven't donated in the show with a note and through email. I think John forgot to look for that before the second segment. The donation last show got me to knighthood. Accounting was in the forgotten email. I think it was some very small amount of money, like 5 cents or something. That makes me a black knight, right? Technically, yes. I think you would be a black knight.
Oh, okay. Hold on. We'll make sure.
And he wants to be that Beatty. That's Sir THATBT.
Hold on. I gotta go. Is this not on my? Oh yeah, I've had here Sir that BT, the Black Knight of Braves country. Is that what? That's what I've got here.
Yeah, well, that's what it is.
Got it. Good.
I like to add some guacamole and cheese dip to the round table.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if there's any room next to the thick, juicy ribeye steak on the bone, cooked medium rare on an Aussie-style barbecue and a bottle of 1998 E&E Black Pepper Shiraz from the Barossa Valley. I don't know if it fits, but I'll try.
I need the best jobs karma you can muster. Hola. P.S. My family probably doesn't pronounce it right either, but we say Shanelli. Okay.
Shanelli. Well, if you want the best jobs karma, gotta throw in the goat.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
All right. Henry Clays in Rancho Palos Verde, California. $200. He's our last associate executive producer in this fairly long segment. Sorry. And he actually wrote a note in. I'll email my full comment, and he has a long comment, which is close to 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. But I'll read some of it. Some years ago, I pegged a monthly subscription contribution to the Financial Times. I felt your podcast was at least that valuable, and I went to the subscription payment because I thought I had good intentions. I was too lazy to make a regular contribution otherwise. So subscription put it in autopilot, and I used my bank bill to pay the function. Shocked to avoided fees for both of you. Anyway, he goes on with his details. I was delinquent on raising my prior 44.42 monthly contribution for a while because I had already noted, and he goes on with some more details. I might be interested for you or listeners to have a value benchmark. The Financial Times is $585 per year, which is $48.75 a month. The Wall Street Journal is $467.88 per year, or $38.99 a month. New York Times is $39 every 4 weeks. When I started my peg, this is a financial guy.
You think?
He's giving us some tips on what kind of if you're putting out $585 for the Financial Times, which we kind of gave up on, you might want to think about donating to us. He says the New York Times is now the most expensive. Something for listeners to think about how they value the show. Don't look at the low-price trial subscriptions for these publications, as most of you have already been listening for free for months or years already. Support the show. Henry, Barron, Outpost West, no jingles, no karma. And that will end our executive and associate executive producers for show 1268.
We do have Brian becoming a knight today. Brian is a listener and donor since 2014. He's been on he's done some random donations throughout the time, and he says he passed $1,000 a while ago. And although I see signs every once in a while that remind me to send a note, I recently found the reason to pull the trigger on my knighthood. My best friend's wife, who's my smoking hot wife's best friend, was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and she just started treatment today. My buddy mentioned this is her first of 33 treatments, so I knew what I had to do. I'd like to be knighted Sir Brian of the Northern South Towns, but more importantly, give her an F cancer karma for my buddy's wife, along with everyone else who's forced to deal with this crappy disease, especially when they have to go it mostly alone due to COVID rules. Stronger together, love and light, and thanks for all you do to help save the universe one show at a time, says Brian. See you at the round table, and thank you.
You've got karma.
And that is it. Thank you all so much, our executive and associate executive producers who have come through once again. Not Kung Fu, you come through once again, and we appreciate it. These titles are real. They can be used anywhere that titles are recognized. Credits of this magnitude are a serious thing for people who are in the field, but also, chicks dig it. So put it on your LinkedIn or anywhere you feel appropriate. And thank you for supporting the No Agenda Show. And please consider us for the Sunday show. We'll need your help once again. It's a lot of work, no commercials, no corporate money, just you. We all produce it together. Go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And down under, make sure you send me boots on the ground reports.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order. Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Woo! Well, I want to start the second half off with a quiz for you.
Is it an Ask Adam or just a plain old quiz?
It's not an Ask Adam.
Okay.
This is I want to tell you have to identify the person saying "in the morning" in this clip.
Oh, hold on a second. Would it be titled "In the Morning"?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to listen.
In the morning.
Kaylee.
Yeah.
Yes, I recognize that voice.
In the morning.
Is that your potential end of show ISO?
Well, that one and the other one, which is which is a long ISO, but I think it would still work at the end of the show, which is the "They Are Stupid" ISO from Kamala Harris.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
No, that's way too long. I have this. How about this? Wait. I think this is what someone sent me. No, I don't. No. I have this. We just played this one, I guess.
This will kill you.
I think we've already done that one.
No, that one's been done.
Yeah, how about this one?
He's kind of a little bit racist.
That's Ben Shapiro.
He's kind of a little bit racist.
I like it too. Can we use that one?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like Kaylee saying "in the morning" at the end of the show, but you can use either one. I don't care. Let's do. So I've been listening to C-SPAN.
Yeah, I watched a lot of it myself.
Well, I caught the call-ins after the Biden.
It's
Harris.
the best part. Hello, everybody knows this.
So I have a few. I got 4 clips.
Nice.
I got a Democrat, probably 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. And I'll start with the Republicans, and this will be the first one. These are scattered around on the list. So this one is more call-ins sick.
The only thing I can say, if they get in office, we'll be ruined. And she will become president if they get in, because they're going to get rid of Biden because he's already sick.
Why is he sick?
You know why he's sick.
We'll go to Robin next in Muncie, Pennsylvania.
You know why he's sick. And we're off to Muncie. Hello.
So
that's good. In fact, hold on a second. That is by some odd, no, it's a borderline. It was good. I like it. Clip of the day. That was funny.
Yeah, I got a kick out of it.
Yeah.
It's mostly the segue that made it work.
Of course.
You know why he's sick. On to you.
On to Muncie.
Okay, now this is the water glass one, this is a, I think this was a Republican. Yeah, this is also a Republican. That was a Republican. This is a Republican.
Give is believe. She says a whole lot, but the words have no meaning. And Joe Biden better watch his water glass, if you catch my drift.
Let's go to Will next, joining us from Hope Mills, North Carolina.
She should have added, don't take any small airplanes and probably stay away from hot tubs, Joe. Right on.
So now there's a couple. I'm trying to decide which to put these order in, but I think I'll do this one first, which is, now I heard more than a couple of these, and I think there's going to be, I think there's something going on here, and I think it's something we have to be on the lookout for.
Okay.
And you'll hear why I'm saying that after you listen to this guy. He comes in as a Democrat, and I call it the odd coincidence clip.
Go to John, Democrat, Carthage, Missouri. Good evening, John.
My name is John, and I'm voting for Joe and the vice president he selected. I think she'll be a good one, and I think we'll turn this country around and make America great again. And that's all I got to say. He got my vote.
This is good.
That wasn't the only one of those.
Interesting.
There was another Democrat that came on with a. I didn't clip that one because I said, "Oh, that's funny."
But I mean,
when the second one showed up,
the old guy should have said, "I can't wait to build back better."
Well, see, but that's what he said. He said, and as soon as you hear "Make America Great Again," what comes to mind instantly? Trump.
Well, Joe Biden all the way. No, of course, Trump. Hello.
It's very slick.
It's good.
Very slick.
It's almost like a Baba Booey move, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yes. If anyone remembers that. So let's play the last one, which is another Democrat. And this one is my favorite clip of all of them because of this one just goes straight to crazy. This is calling Star Trek.
Richard, you with us?
That I have right now is that when the coronavirus took over, President Trump and all his cronies in that White House knew about it and took their money out of the stock market, and nobody is doing anything about it. And now that the stock market is back up, they put their money back in, and nobody has caught that yet. And the other thing is we need to move this world ahead. We've been here 50 million years, they say. Well, I'm 56 tomorrow, and I don't understand why we're not in the Star Wars, like Star Trek. We can make movies about it, but we can't be there. Why are we not so far ahead? Why are our brains not moving us forward? Why is all this money going to all these people that are way up high, and none of it is being put back into our society? Move us ahead. Move us forward. Get out of this debt. Get out of the world. Move us forward. We should be in Star Trek era, and I don't understand why 50 million people for 50 million years can't move us forward.
Richard, thanks for the call. You're calling from...
I'm all for that ticket, though.
Oh, that's obviously one of my cousins. Also very angry about the moon activity being 51 years ago and not repeating it, and everyone getting all jacked about a trip to the International Space Station. Woo!
I like the line. His line was, I forgot the line I like, but it was something about, we've been here this long, and how come we haven't been to Star Trek? We should be in the Star Trek era.
It's true. Where's my flying car?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh, man, there is a new flying car.
Oh, probably the same old flying car. So I get to give a little anecdote. There's a guy in Sacramento that keeps doing these flying cars. He's been doing them since I first read about him, I think when I was in the 70s and so it shows up when I'm the editor of InfoWorld. Some guy comes running into my office and shows me the flying car because the guy reintroduced it. And I said, this guy's been doing this flying car forever. And then again, another 10 years later, he does a flying car. This time it's computerized, and he goes on. I mean,
that's the drone version of it.
No, it's a real flying car. Guy sits in the car and then he flies around. It's got a bunch of propellers around the outside.
Well, there's this new one, and these guys have been at it for a long time, and they haven't done the whole investor, put your money. I can't remember what the hell the name of that. Here it is. It's the shoot. This is really it's a 3-wheel. It's not the Terrafugia. Crap! Is it a small airplane?
Well, it's this guy's flying car from Sacramento has always been a hovercraft.
No, this is an actual plane, and the wings they fold out from the front to the back, and which kind of alleviates that whole what happens if they break or fold up, which is a lot of like the Terrafugia has. But it must. I'm coughing a lot today, but it must be a really crappy brand name because I, for the life of me, can't remember what it's called. Now, it hasn't flown yet, but they've done. No, I mean, they know it'll fly. In fact, its first flight maybe soon. Maybe as a YouTube video. I'm sorry. I feel bad that I can't. I'm kind of like stretching time and surprised that no trolls have already said, "Oh, I know what you're talking about."
Yeah, apparently no trolls know about this, but you. Well, trolls. You're done.
I'm the only one that knows about. Here it is, the Switchblade. Of course, you should look it up. The Switchblade. It's a carbon. It's like fiberglass. It's a 2-seater, but it can go. It'll do 180 knots. And the thing is super fast, and it's got a fan in the back, like a fan propeller, and it does 120 on the road. And you tank it with regular gas, just premium.
Premium's not regular.
I'm sorry, not aviation gas, which is that's 110 octane, and at least, and you can park it in your garage, and the cost will be $120,000, which is incredibly.
That's the same price as a Tesla.
Yeah, and it's incredibly. Now, I'm sure it's a kit, though. So what you do is you got to pay $20,000. You go to the kit place. They put an apron on you. You hold on to the wrench, and they put it together.
Yes, this is this kit scam.
It's great. I love the kit scam.
They have a kit scam for cars, too.
I'd really love to have one of those. I'd fly that.
Go get it. Get one.
Well, it's not flying.
Save your pennies.
Well, by the time it's flying, I'm sure if I save pennies, it'll actually have enough money. Because that's how those things
usually go. In other words, yes. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Let's do a couple of international updates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's start with Lebanon.
Lebanon. Okay. Here we go.
The latest figures from Lebanon's health ministry show that 171 people died in the disaster, 6,500 were injured, and some 300,000 have been made homeless. Marios Sophos has more.
As the Lebanese public demand answers about the events that led up to last week's explosion, it's been revealed that a prosecutor is to question several ministers and former ministers about the disaster. This includes the most recent public works minister, who is currently acting in a caretaker capacity following the resignation of former Prime Minister Hassan Diab and his government on Monday. The Lebanese judiciary does not have the power to sue if evidence of negligence is found, however. In this case, the chief prosecutor would transfer the file to Parliament, where it would be managed by a special counsel in charge of suing ministers and presidents. An investigation by news agency AFP found that up until the day before the blast in Beirut, officials had been warning each other about the vast quantity of explosive ammonium nitrate that had been left in storage at the capital's port for years. On Wednesday, a tweet by the Lebanese presidency gave an estimated cost for the damage caused last week.
Preliminary estimates of the losses suffered following the port explosion top $15 billion.
Now, I rang the bell because apparently these guys have been this pile of ammonium nitrate's been sitting there for years, and they've been bitching and moaning about it to each other. But meanwhile, some screwball report shows up in the New York Times and is played out on, look for the clip, NYT, and is played on Democracy Now! And I thought this was a very gratuitous and odd statement, and I think and I wanted to deconstruct it for a second because I think it was done.
Meanwhile, the New York.
Oops, sorry.
Wait. I think it was done as a slam against Trump, although she never says it. This happened during the Obama administration.
Meanwhile, the New York Times reports an American contractor working with the U.S. Army warned over 4 years ago about the hazard posed by over 2,700 tons of explosive ammonium nitrate fertilizer left unattended at Beirut's port. The U.S. State Department reportedly then failed to pass along the warning to U.S. allies.
Now, what was the point of this little ditty, A? And B, why were we supposed to, we knew about this and I'm sure other people did too. Why was the State Department responsible for passing this on to allies? And even so, passing on to allies, what difference does that make?
At this point?
Nothing.
Point? Trump sucks. Trump.
But it's over 4 years ago, so it had to be Obama's administration. But she makes it sound, and I think people listening to it, they think, "Oh, Trump, that guy."
Well, maybe that's just maybe that's just our bias. Hold on.
Meanwhile, the New York Times reports an American contractor working with the U.S. Army warned over 4 years ago about the hazard posed by over 2,700 tons of explosive ammonium nitrate fertilizer left unattended at Beirut's port. The U.S. State Department reportedly then failed to pass along the warning to U.S. allies.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you look at the timeline, yeah, that would probably be Trump. It was 4 years ago. He didn't pass
Trump's
it on.
not been in office 4 years.
Well, I have a little different take on what's going on after some research. It is a theory. I'm a conspiracy researcher. And it took me a while to think about this clip.
7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
I think we pretty much can add this one to the list. I am going to implicate Israel, and I'll tell you why. The day of, I received that, and it was the day of, which is why, if you wanted to do a deep fake, yeah, you can, I guess. That clearly shows some kind of projectile going towards the spot that explodes in the right kind of timing you'd expect. There's multiple angles. People have it on video, and they draw little circles so you can see what they're talking about. There's a negative image from a whole different angle from the other side.
Where did it come from?
Just online, just people posting stuff.
I know where the original images come from that showed the missile.
I don't know. It's people's phones. People's phones. Was it
before the initial explosion?
No. You see the brownish orange is there, and then just before the big monstrous pressure wave, which everyone says ammonium nitrate, there's a projectile that you can see. There's plenty of videos. The reason why I'm going to implicate, I have no proof. 7 months ago, right near the Syrian border, Israel tested what they called a new weapon, and there's a video of it online. And if you go look at it, it is exactly the same pattern as this. Exactly the same pattern. You know, with the shock wave, and it's that same round whitish cloud that spurts out. I haven't seen many of those. So
okay,
but hold on.
I'm asking for clarification. You have to let me do that. Are you saying that because of what you saw in this other video, that entire explosion wasn't, I mean, the ammonium nitrate obviously is going to go up, but it was it wasn't just like shooting a regular missile into something they think is making armaments and having it blow up. It was actually the weapon itself made the big explosion?
I'm saying that.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I am saying that because the weapon itself if you look on the YouTubes, you'll see it has the exact same pattern, and I just never seen it before, 7 months ago. Now, the main reason why I think this was Israel is on the same day. And, what goes through the most important thing for this country, Lebanon, is food. And they get all of their grain through the port. They import. They got this very poor country. They have to import. People have nothing to eat. And just to make sure, on the very same day, Israeli missiles blew up grain silos in Syria, which is the only other place they could get grain from that is nearby in order to feed their people. That to me said, something's... Now, why? I don't know. Maybe the fact that Prime Minister Netanyahu has threatened this multiple times. Who knows if there was ammonium nitrate? I got a picture. I got a State Department report that was never... I got a picture of some big bags in guys. It looks like a warehouse. Fine. We have... the State Department never passed anything on. Why? Was it really true? Was it not true? Might as well blame it on Trump. Maybe there was no ammonium nitrate. I don't know. But I can see the exact similarity in this missile, and then to blow up the closest grain silos on the same day.
Well, that bomb went off right where the grain silos, the main ones are. They're where the ships come in and they drop it off. Yep. In fact, if you look at the explosion, you got that big building. There's a bunch of grain silos, and there was a bunch of grain on the ground. If you look at some of the videos, it's an interesting idea, because even if there was ammonium nitrate, it would have been vaporized and probably contributed to the size of the blast.
And would it have blown up just like that? It's like, show me some more ammonium
like I
nitrate.
said from the beginning, I'm very doubtful that you're going to get the ammonium nitrate to make a concussion
just blow
cloud.
up like that, right?
Yeah, even if it's heated up.
So, taking the great words of our buddy General Wesley Clark here with "We needed Lebanon." Who knows? Who knows what faction this could be?
One other, I'll give another aspect to this. There's an Italian guy. This is all over Twitter, and I didn't follow up on it. I just did some research to see it, because it didn't make a lot of sense to me. But that yellow cloud or that red cloud, this munitions expert claims is from a lithium bomb. Anytime lithium explodes, it gives a red cloud like this. I never heard that, but he says it's from making missiles that are lithium powered. There's a couple of different powering mechanisms for surface to surface missiles that are lithium powered. There's some. I never knew this. I had to go look it up. There's two different technologies that use lithium to make a rocket motor, and if it's possible that it wasn't a Hamas, let's say, missile thing, and they blow this thing to smithereens. I mean, there's nothing left. It's not outside the realm of possibilities. But then to blow up the second granary,
that was the big one.
That is kind of interesting, because now they're either creating a humanitarian issue, crisis. Which, of course, can be dealt with by sending shiploads of American grain over there. It's an issue. It's a problem. They're going to get refugee issues and all these other problems that are going to occur. And starving people is like the lowest thing you can do to a society.
It appears that Trump has been pushing Macron to step up. France has they're pushing money. They got all kinds. They have so many things going on with Lebanon.
They're close allies.
Yeah,
historically.
I'm trying to find this video on the fly for you. I have to find it for you after the show find it for. I'd like to see it. Yeah, it's
that's a very distinctive look, I have to say.
That's why it's like, wow, that look, huh? Okay. And the Wes Clark 7. I'm sure. If not directly, I'm sure one of our intelligence agencies may be involved. Swamp not drained yet.
Yeah, I would put this into play as a consideration.
Yeah.
One more update, Belarus.
Yep. Yes, the good old Belarus.
Authorities in Belarus have confirmed that a 25-year-old protester has died following his arrest during a rally on Sunday in the southeastern city of Gomel. The cause of his death is, though, unclear. That news came as huge crowds filled the streets of a string of cities, including the capital Minsk, for a fourth consecutive day on Wednesday, as anger simmers over the controversial re-election of President Alexander Lukashenko. Claire Rush reports.
Some holding hands, others holding flowers. Hundreds of women marched through the capital of Belarus on Wednesday in a show of solidarity with injured and detained protesters. The opposition says police have attacked and arrested protesters with impunity. In this local media report, visibly roughed up young demonstrators are shown publicly promising to stop taking to the streets. Now, neighboring countries are offering to help diffuse tensions.
This is, I'm going to tell you what I think this is too. That Belarus, not a member of the European Union, so they have now the European Union is saying, this was clearly a bogus election. We cannot have this. This is no good. We may have to put sanctions against Belarus. Little Belarus. The European Union so upset about this election because it was so unfair, undemocratic, and it's all crazy. We've got to sanction them. Is that really because they just want democracy to be better? Or is it because this guy is sick and tired of the Russian and their games, and he's messing with the pipelines? So the Russians, no doubt, are in there with their goon squads, tearing everybody up. European Union wants their pipeline connection back. Hello, I want my pipeline back, especially now that U.S. are sanctioning the Nord Stream 2. So any country that participates in that pipeline is also going to get in trouble. This is a pipeline war. It has nothing to do with democracy in Belarus.
I'm not going to argue about that.
Yeah, it's all under pipelines in the show notes if you're interested. It's just nuts. Hey, noodle gun. We need a noodle gun update.
Oh, yes, please.
Let's do a little quick noodle gun. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, there we go. Still don't know what that has to do with it, but I like it. The noodle gun is out. That's right. What's getting canceled? I think Robin DiAngelo is on her way to some cancellation. As now everyone is realizing that the University of Connecticut is paying her $22,000 for a 3-hour lecture. And this is, people are freaking out over this. Wait a minute. She's just a capitalist. Noodle gun for you, Robin DiAngelo. But we'll see, because she can always do corporate work. We have the McDonald's CEO. Well, that's not really a noodle gun. He lied about how many women he was sleeping with, and he took a big payoff, and then the rest came out. Oops. Yeah. We have Seattle station fires Jewish meteorologist who compared Black Lives Matter rioters to Nazis. You foolish man. You can only do that if you work for MSNBC. Jews can't do that. Jeez. PRX at who also produced for National Public Radio.
Yeah, Public Radio. It's Public Radio something.
So I think she's the CEO.
There's 2 or 3 of them.
Carrie Hoffman, and she has been called out by multiple employees about touching a woman of color's hair. That was apparently
Oh, no.
Yes. She has black hair. She apparently black. I'm sorry, I can't say that. Kamala doesn't have black hair. I would say she has ADOS related hair. Can't even talk anymore. And so apparently she reached out and said, "Oh, man, I really like your hair." Well, wrong. That is so racist. That's what it's come to. Now, there were other things, of course, that pop up. This is not the only time, but that's what it is. It's like,
Meanwhile, Joe Biden gets away with smelling people's hair.
and saying horrible things. But,
okay.
All right, but she is refusing to go, so even though she gets the noodle gun, it looks like she's got some kind of vest on that is bouncing it off.
We'll see.
But people are leaving. People are resigning. I would say the Morse guy? What's his name?
I don't know the Morse guy.
Yeah, Alex Morse. He's running for. Where is he running for? In Massachusetts, I think. And, well, the bottom line is people started calling him out because when he was a teacher, he was having sex with students and therefore, shouldn't qualify.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He wasn't having sex with his own students, and the students were over age.
Yeah, sure, but that's the point. He's not getting canceled. People who are calling him out are getting canceled.
Why are they getting canceled?
Because it's LGBT unfriendly.
Yeah.
You should see Glenn Greenwald is canceling people left and right.
He is?
Over this particular issue. Of course, Glenn's a gay superhero. He's coming to the rescue. And he's right, obviously. Channel 10. Where's Channel 10? Oh, bro, I can't even think about where Channel 10 is. I guess the number one noodle gun for me is the Netherlands. Facebook and Instagram now both forbid any pictures of Black Pete. So the actual celebration for children in December, which used to be before Christmas is much more commercialized now.
What if you call him Soot Pete?
No pictures. If someone is a Black Pete and not actually doesn't have that skin color, it is illegal by Facebook rules to post that.
Huh.
That has got to be the harshest noodle gun of them all.
I guess so.
Ugh.
It's like you can't win.
Here is, I just want to stay with Black Lives Matter since we're here. A couple things to catch up on. This was played quite a lot. I don't know if this young woman represents Black Lives Matter. She's listed as a Chicago Black Lives Matter organizer. I'm not so sure of that. I also don't think a lot of people agree with her message, but it was played quite a bit here.
I don't care if somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that person eats. That makes sure that person has clothes. That makes sure that person can make some kind of money because this city obviously doesn't care about them. Not only that, that's reparations.
In front of the 1st Police District, members of Black Lives Matter justifying the actions of looters last night.
So today... Oops. Sorry. So that was, it's reparations, obviously. Okay.
Yeah, this has come up a couple of times. The Black Lives Matter representatives calling it reparations for looting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not really the right way to go about it. Of course, you'll never get reparations.
Yeah,
I don't think that's happening. Tangibles will be nice. Reparations, probably not. Also from Chicago, this is Democrat LaShawn Ford.
So today, I'm calling for the abolishment of history classes in Illinois. We're concerned that current school history teachings lead to white privilege and a racist society.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that one, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't have a clip of it. This is the first time I got the clip. I'm very happy.
Yeah, it's been going on in some areas. Let's get rid of the history classes. That's a great idea.
I'd like to say hi to the Portland Police Department officers who are listening to the show, who clearly took a page from our recommendation. If you're dealing with someone who is clearly underinformed and over-socialized, the best way to reply to anything they say is, I'm surprised you would use your privilege to accuse me of not doing the work. And then you can fill in taking the garbage out. Doesn't matter. It's a tard taser. People get frozen. They don't know what to say. They're like, huh? What? And they'll defend their privilege, which is the funniest part. Here is a Portland cop. He's arresting a female peaceful protester, and an onlooker has a question. Now listen to his answer.
Is there a female officer present to do this?
Good question.
Is there a female officer present while you're patting her down?
What's that?
Do you have a female officer present while you're patting her down?
Nope. How do you know that I don't identify as a female?
Could you hear that?
Yeah. Not quite with as much elegance as your script, but
no, but he's
there.
But he's learning. He's learning. I thought it was good. This is the last one I've got here. This is now that Minneapolis St. Paul, of course, is I don't know what's left of it. We don't see any real overview of how bad this was. Our producers say kind of in a 4x4 block radius, but I don't think so. It seems like it should be much more. So there's an ad now for the TCF, Twin Cities Financial Bank. One of our producers sent this, and I thought it was indeed also kind of tailored towards the new liberal Democrats.
Can you feel that? Something's changing. A shift from a focus on me to something bigger. Because while it's perfectly fair to ask, what's in it for me? Finding the answer comes from asking, what's in it for we? At TCF Bank, our purpose lies in answering that question. In giving every me the financial strength to make us all a stronger we.
What do you think? Sounds kind of like
communism.
Yes. They take your money and they give it to other people? I don't know. Something of that.
Yeah, well, there's that. That's not right.
And then we got this cool screenshot from one of our producers. And he said this was a book that Martin Luther King often touted. And, of course, now I'm looking for the name of this book. Which for some reason didn't carry over to my show notes. But I did want to read this from 1965. Read this little paragraph. Such groups as the Panthers, never more than 5,000 and probably not half that number, or the RAMS, Revolutionary Armed Movement, which I think you've talked about, John.
No, they retitled it Revolutionary Abolitionist Movement.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say it's probably the same outfit, the RAM. Just changed it a bit, which was even smaller, would never have gained the attention and influence they did had it not been for the susceptibility of white upper-class Northerners. Unlike their Southern cousins, Northern whites had little experience and no tradition of dealing with guilt, and their experiments bordered on the bizarre and descended to the pathological. Many begged to be abused and baited. Sound familiar?
Wow, yeah. That's a good one.
Holy crap. I'll have to look that up, where that's from.
Well, I do have one thing to get to before the break.
Okay.
Now, there is a QAnon woman who's just won the primaries in Georgia to be the Republican, to become a U.S. representative.
Yes.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I want to just give us a little background on her because it's kind of interesting. This is, you can just play, I have 3 clips, they're short, but this one's clip 1, which is the longest.
Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is a pariah inside her own party over her past racist and bigoted statements. But this week, it's another kind of extremism drawing attention to her run for Congress.
All right, so Q is a patriot. We know that for sure, but we do not know who Q is.
That was Greene in a video a couple years ago, one of several social media posts where she mentions Q, or QAnon. It's a conspiracy theory that emerged on right-wing message boards in 2017. It spread quickly through Facebook groups.
I'm sorry. Here's my problem. I just want to stop it. QAnon is not a conspiracy theory. That's bullshit. It's not a...
Hey, let's start off with, if you want to talk bullshit, this is NPR.
Yes.
So let's start with that premise. And the whole beginning of the thing where she has these racist comments. There's no examples of any of this.
But also, QAnon is a person or group or people who are posting things.
Oh, it gets worse.
But it's not a conspiracy theory.
Believe me, I got better stuff coming up.
Oh, who Q is.
If you think that's bad.
Sorry. I guess I should wait until the end of each clip then, because this is good.
Know that for sure, but we do not know who Q is.
That was Green in a video a couple years ago, one of several social media posts where she mentions Q, or QAnon. It's a conspiracy theory that emerged on right-wing message boards in 2017. It spread quickly through Facebook groups and homemade documentaries like this one on YouTube.
What do we have for now? Donald Trump as president of the US. And then, out of nowhere, arose the enigma of Q.
Those who buy into the baseless theory think President Trump is leading a secret war against Satan-worshipping pedophiles in the deep state. They believe someone known only as Q is helping by leaving encrypted messages for self-proclaimed digital soldiers to decode.
Q is a peaceful movement. Our only weapon is truth.
That's a Q supporter in an episode of the podcast QAnon Anonymous. The show takes a deep, skeptical look into the world of QAnon.
What's up, QAA listeners?
One of the hosts, Travis View, says QAnon is so outlandish, so ridiculous, that most people didn't take it seriously. Not federal authorities, not social media platforms. At least, not until Q believers started running for office.
I'm I'm surprised you would use your privilege to not even request that we put on our Q glasses for this segment.
That's a funny idea, but I don't think this is a Q glasses necessary segment.
Okay. All right.
It's just mostly just the silliness of NPR. So let's play. Now, the second one, there's two other ones. One's from Democracy Now!, which I just wanted to play as a quick summary because it has some funny stuff in it. But you have to play the other one first, which is the QAnon one without Democracy Now!'s moniker on there. And because I want you to listen carefully.
I think Marjorie Taylor Greene started in the bucket where she truly believed in QAnon, but now she's probably drifting more towards the political constituency.
Marc-Andre Argentino recently wrote about QAnon for the Combating Terrorism Center at West Point. He worries Q is fueling extremism. Last year, an FBI memo called it a potential domestic terrorism threat. Several Q supporters already have been linked to serious crimes. Aoife Gallagher tracks QAnon for the London-based Institute for Strategic Dialogue.
That's almost like a cult, it really becomes this almost cult-like thinking. They have their mantras and their oaths and they, are so dogmatic in their thinking.
Gallagher says the conspiracy now goes well beyond American politics. International Q groups have formed.
So the guy says they have their mantras and their oaths.
I don't know about
oaths.
Well, that's the.
I pledge allegiance. I mean, what kind of oath are they? What is this guy talking about?
I'm going to tell you. There's one oath. Where we go one, we go all. That's their oath. It's the mantra.
Okay, so they have
one.
Well, he said
one.
Oaths.
No, it's one.
He said mantras and oaths.
Well, he works at NPR.
Well, no, that was a guy. That was a researcher.
Well, he's a dick. Whoever that guy is, he's wrong.
A dick.
It's just no good.
So let's listen to the wrap-up by Amy.
In election news, a supporter of a far-right conspiracy theory with a history of racist remarks has won the Republican nomination for Georgia's 14th congressional district. Racist. Marjorie Taylor Greene's primary victory Tuesday in a deep red district makes her the heavy favorite in November's election. Greene ran on a pro-gun, anti-immigrant, anti-abortion platform and has embraced the QAnon conspiracy theory, which claims, among other things, that President Trump is secretly at war with a deep state cabal of Satan-worshipping elites who run a child sex trafficking operation.
Wow, she got the same damn script from the Democrats. That's obviously set up. Well, do you have something to add to this? Because I do.
No, I'm just done. I just thought there'd be good clips. I like this sex pedophile thing going off the deep end. And whole idea.
That's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what it's about. And 2 days ago, the Hollywood, Los Angeles, California offices of CNN were stormed by at least 100. I don't know how many got in. They were in the office building, and they had signs, and this was one of their mantras. We don't work, we don't No, we go one, we go all. Where we go one, we go all.
We go.
Well,
okay. That is okay. It's a mantra more than an oath.
Well, and how about this one? This is 100 kids in the halls at CNN with signs, Pizzagate.
What are they saying?
Save the children.
Okay.
And a couple of guys who look like they actually might enjoy some younger children were in the crowd. That was kind of creepy with just creepy dudes. But yes, this is not just something that QAnon is about, but the kids, the Wayfair cabinets, kids are at home. They're not at school. They're on Facebag, Instagram, Twitter. They're bored in the house, bored on board in the house. They got nothing to do and then except explore. And they're exploring online and they're seeing lots of stuff that is creepy, off, weird. And this week as well, YouTube videos, about 20 minutes. I have the full length linked in the show notes. This is producer John Paul Rice. He's a Hollywood guy. He's produced several independent movies, but also Juno and The Hunger Games, the first Hunger Games. He recently did A Child's Voice, which is very, very creepy about children, about networks selling children. And here's a minute and a half of this video that he made. This is a guy who is successful in Hollywood. He's not Harvey Weinstein level success back in the day. He's not Tom Cruise running a studio.
Yeah, he's a guy who gets work.
He gets good work.
This is a bigger problem because most people know in that world, and the world that I come from in Hollywood, that it is a hidden layer that everybody knows is there. When the Me Too movement started in 2017, I reached out to several of my female actress friends who were prominent in LA. You would know them by name. Many of them you would know by just their look, because you go, oh, that was her in that movie or that movie. And I said, well, what about the children? What about the children? And the response was, we know. But they were silent on it. And it destroyed me because it destroyed my illusion of what human rights were. Children's rights were. This is a child abuse system that we have been living in for a very long time, and it's been allowed to go on. And I will not be silent about this because it affects every single one of us. The people on television who smile at you, who tell you stories, who give you news, are the ones who hide all of this from us. They are not talking about the real issues. They are distracting you with division issues. This is a unification issue. When the Maxwell files came out 48 hours ago, I went on MSNBC, I went on CNN.com, and I looked at every single one of their headlines, and there was no mention of it whatsoever. They were talking about John Lewis's funeral. They were talking about Obama versus Trump, all of the bullshit that you and I hear every single day. And it doesn't matter what side of the political equation you're on this. This is a child issue. This is a human issue. This is not a political issue. It has nothing to do with left versus right, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative, or anything you are or you identify with as in between. We are faced with a crisis of consciousness among the leadership of our banking institutions, of our media corporations, of the Hollywood entertainment industry, of the music industry.
And it goes on for 20 minutes. It's very interesting.
So much for him getting work.
That's why, a guy like that only does it if he's really fed up with it. He's got to be brave.
Got to be fed up and have some money in the bank.
He's got to have money in the bank, and the usual list applies. No hot tubs, no small planes.
Yeah.
Don't walk in the streets of D.C. at 2 a.m. This is all very dangerous. So when people discredit the QAnon phenomenon, which, okay, fine, I'm not following this, but I have been following this crap for 10 years, if not longer. And yeah, of course that's happening. Of course it's right. And now all these people like Judy and Amy are going to be, as far as I'm concerned, helping cover it up.
Well, Boom.
Where is that? Where is the representative who won the primary?
She's in Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
Where they're all dying of COVID now, apparently.
We'll keep our eye on her.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Now, we do have a few people to thank for show 1268. Starting with Brian Anonymous, 177.76. You need some house buying karma. We'll give you that at the end. And also, glad to thank you for the anniversary call out. John Carney in Alpharetta, Georgia, 133.33. I need some jobs karma. We'll put that at the end. And let's get. Then we have. I'm sure that was John Carney. Then we have Sir Nathan Lee Miller Foster. Sir Nathan Lee Miller Foster, Norwood, Massachusetts.
Yeah, this is important because this is from the Red 33 meetup.
This is a Red 33 meetup
in Boston. So that was $111.11. Because we did their meetup report. Just wanted to see if there was. Here we go. Sir Nathan Lee Miller. Blue Orchid of the Golden Mountaintop Queen Directory. Elfstone and Bearer of the Sword. What is this? Is this his name?
No. Thank you for these are some people that contributed to this.
Elfstone. All right, here we go. Chaotic Good Knight of the White Lodge, Blue Orchid of the Golden Mountaintop Queen Directory, Elfstone and Bearer of the Sword, Reforged, and Future Dame JJ. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Zadok Brown III, $100. Hillary Liable in Newark, Delaware, 100. Rob Van Dyke in Netherlands, 100. Alex Vermillion, West Lynn, Oregon, 100. Take a look if he's got anything there on his note. Thomas Hurtado, 8888, which is a anniversary call. I want to thank you. And Dennis van den Drijchen in Amsterdam, 8888. Again, thank you. Graham Bucknell, 8008. Boobs, French Forest, New South Wales. Did you ever meet Frank Zappa? He wants to know.
No, I met his kids, Dweezil and Moon Unit. I worked with them for about a year or so. They were also on the network.
Rachel, so in other words, the answer is no.
But Dweezil is very cool.
Rachel Butner in Omaha, Nebraska, 80. Scott Watkins in Columbus, Missouri, 66.66. Sir, not appearing on this podcast in Richland, Washington, 5678. Kurt from Illinois, 5555. Dr. Disorder, 5555. Tim Kimbrell in Denton, Texas, has got a birthday shout out. Sir Slam, and that's a 5510, double nickels on the dime. Sir Slam Bob, Rolling Knight of the Guadalupe Trail, 33, in San Jose, California, 5510. Sir Don, the Baron of New Hampshire, 5510 from Wyndham, New Hampshire. Kevin Carlisle in Birmingham, Alabama, 5115. Cason Grover in Nolensville, Tennessee, 5033. Kevin Meisenberg in Lincoln, Nebraska, 5510. The following people are $50 donors, and we have quite a few of them today, thankfully. Name and location, if applicable, starting with Sir Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington. Rosen Touchkoff in London, UK. Robert Decaney in Fairfax, Virginia. Sean DeSantis in Fort Pierce, Florida.
Hey, Sean, is Tony your brother? That's it.
Dame Patricia Worthington in Miami, Florida. Clayton Dunivant in Greenfield, Wisconsin. Drew Mochak, sir, if I'm not mistaken, in Mountain View, California. Jennifer Washburn. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas. Jesse Hall in Friendswood, Texas. Colin Petit in Fairfield, Virginia. Stephen Schumacher, or Schumach, it says Schumach, in Xenia, Ohio. Sir George Wuchit in Universal City, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Gramoli in Kingston, New York. Robert Kierbach in Essexville, Michigan. Kimberly Redmond in Toronto, Ontario. And last but not least, John Carpenter in St. Louis, Missouri.
Wow, good list.
Good list. I want to thank each and every one of them for helping produce show 1268. It really means a lot.
It does. It means that we can continue for another episode. So please consider supporting us. Dvorak.org/NA. That'll be for our Sunday show. And all of you, thank you for producing the best podcast in the universe. Also, everyone under $50. That's not mentioned for brevity, but also anonymity. And a lot of these people are on our programs. And as you heard earlier and are about to witness, even smaller donations can easily get you to the round table over time. For everyone who needs it, first reminder, there you go.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And now your jobs and your karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Here we go. It's our birthday list for the 13th of August, 2020. Brian says, Tristan Allen says happy birthday to his father, Christian Allen. Sir Stephen of Oswego celebrates today. Kevin Meisenberg, happy birthday to Ella Meisenberg, also celebrating today. Tim Crimble says happy birthday to his son Dawson, turns 12 tomorrow. Rachel says happy birthday to Zachary. Actually, he turns 40 today. Congratulations. Chris Grimole will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow. And Leanne Webb with the beautiful donation and note for her husband, Steve. He'll be celebrating on the 19th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. Cool. Good list. Good fun. Knights and Dames, which we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. 5 knights today. No dames, but get a nice and manly blade up for them. Perfect for them. Up on the podium, please. Brian, Robert Crognali, Dave Kaplan, Roderick Lennart, and Stephen Chanelli. All of you have reached the status of Knight of the No Agenda Roundtable thanks to your contribution of $1,000 or more. And we saw that Brian actually made it after years of smaller donations. Thank you, and I'm very proud to pronounce the Sir Brian of the Northern South Towns. Sir Stone Blue, rock and roll sure helped me through. Sir Capo of Gunya Beach, Sir Roderick of Flavortown, and Sir That BT, the Black Knight of Braves Country. It doesn't happen often, but I ran out. I can tell you that here we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay also for you on deck. Thick, juicy ribeye steak on the bone, cooked medium rare on an Aussie-style barbecue, and a bottle of 1998 E&E. Black pepper Shiraz from the Barossa Valley, Imperials and Chacarones, Manhattans and marijuana, and guacamole and cheese dip. If you want, we also have mutton and mead. For that, please see Eric the Shill. Go over to noagendanation.com/rings. He'll be very happy to help you out to get you your ring, your sealing wax, and your official certificate. And thank you for supporting the best podcast in the universe.
No agenda meetups.
Like a party indeed. I do have, I've got a couple reports here. First, let's start with what's coming up. Today, the No Math Southside Okietown meetup. That's at 6:30 at Garage in the Garage in Moore, Oklahoma. Bridgeport, Pennsylvania. Oh, that's a No Agenda /MoFax meetup, 7 o'clock tonight at Puddlers. Then we have the Bi-State Amygdala Commission meetup in Davenport, Iowa. That's at the Armored Gardens with Todd McGreevy organizing. Tomorrow, the Greater Seattle Kirkland Marina meetup, the Wild Rover Irish Pub. Also tomorrow, the virtual meetup over Jitsi at 4 p.m. Eastern. Comic Strip Blogger organizing. I presume you can go to noagendasocial.com for that. On Saturday, Bloomington, Indiana at the Switchyard Brewery. Throop is organizing also on Saturday in Sioux City, Iowa. Riverside Park, Sir Bernie Atama and Matt Decker are hosting that for you. And on Sunday, the Oxford, North Carolina meetup, 5 o'clock, Tobacco Wood Brewery. Derek Parr is organizing that for you. And we have a couple of reports. This is the first one is the report from West Seattle Burien School from Home. This was kind of good. Stephen M. Hill, a douchebag from West Seattle, says, our meetup was small. It was exceptionally productive. Hannah, the keeper, and I were joined by fellow No Agenda producers Jeremy and Jen, that's very small, to discuss the myriad of issues confronting our families as we approach the new school year. Our conversation touched on all the expected points: masks, social distancing, outsized concerns from other family members, SJW indoctrination by the public school system, etc. But where things really got down to brass tacks was the way in which requiring our children to learn and socialize through the established remote systems is truly a method of social control and an attempt to dehumanize the members of their young cohort and train them to be digital corporate slaves. This will not stand. So they had an aha moment, and they have set up a group, the email group, wsea.schoolfromhome@gmail.com. Again, wsea.schoolfromhome@gmail.com. Encourage any parent of any age group in any localities interested in discussing the future of our collective human resources to drop us a line and brainstorm. Outstanding idea. And we have an audio report from,
here we are,
from an old favorite, Sergeant Fred. Do you remember Sergeant Fred?
Not for a while.
No, we haven't heard from him for quite a while. Sergeant Fred, early supporter, Vietnam veteran, and still in and out of VA hospitals for Agent Orange damage that was done to him. And he apparently was at an impromptu meetup.
Here we are. Today is the 9th of August, and we are in a meetup. It's a No Agenda meetup, and with us here in Orange, in the city of Orange, in Orange County, this is the Sergeant Fred meetup. It's spontaneous, and it's extemporaneous, and here with us, we have these people. A podcaster, Matt.
From the Brunch with the Brits podcast in the morning, everybody, and just so you all know, Blind Lives Matter.
So it's BLM, Blind Lives Matter. And why is that, Matt?
Well, I'm blind, and, my life matters, just like everybody else's life, but blind lives matter.
And of course, this is Sergeant Fred, originally from Austin, marooned here in LA because can't go anywhere, any place because of the lockdown. But anyway, I'm a podcaster too, with 3 podcasts. One's called Podcast Reporter, the other one, The Struggling Biz, and tell John C. Dvorak that is biz. And the other one is the 2030podcast.com. So we want to wish everybody here from No Agenda to say 1, 2, 3 in the morning.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Fred. Go to noagendameetups.com.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
Just like a party. Just like one. noagendameetups.com. It's great fun. And thank you all. Whoo! Do you have anything left? I
have one clip that I want to play because it does need comment.
Okay.
So I'm not going to play us out.
All right. Let me just see if I want to play something before that. Yes. I do have one important clip that I feel is important to play since the Biden campaign is in the news. And this is what was the something from the Quran that Joe Biden repeated? Use your hands, use your tongue.
Oh, it was from the Hadiths.
From the Hadiths. What do you know about that? I don't know anything about it.
Well, I saw we did play the guy analyzing it on the show.
Yeah, but what I didn't hear was the analysis brought by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Now, she was on Tucker Carlson. I like Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I know her. She immigrated to the Netherlands first from Somalia.
Yeah, she's famous.
Very famous. She's one of the most influential women in the world. I think Time Magazine usually lists her. And I know her through the LA Lesbians, if you remember those guys.
Not
those
really.
gals.
But, yeah, I'd be interested. What does she have to say?
It was the LA Jewish Lesbians. That might ring a bell. Well, she was surprised, shocked, awed, and somewhat outraged by what Joe said and the fact that no one caught it.
The next thing that he says on the clip, which is, if you see something wrong, and he quotes the Prophet Muhammad, then use your hand, and if you can't use your hand, use your tongue, and if you can't use your tongue, then use your heart. What he's basically doing from that point onwards is enforcing Sharia law. And it is vigilantism on steroids. It's like, we've seen, if you're a Muslim, you grew up within Islam, you're trying to reform it, you're just a good American Muslim, you are being confronted with a former vice president and I would say a candidate for a major political party who's basically saying, let's enforce Sharia law. But I don't know who put these words in his mouth, and I'm alarmed. And I absolutely cannot believe that in the year 2020, Joe Biden is commanding right and forbidding wrong, meaning he is enforcing Sharia law. I understand that Joe Biden doesn't know what he's doing and I think most Americans don't, but he does have a campaign team. He has a team of people who will say, this is what you can say. Joe Biden should come out and apologize profusely to the American people, and especially to those American Muslims who have adopted and embraced the foundational principles of America.
Basically, someone slipped it in.
Yes, and he said it in that speech that he wants to bring more Muslims on board, and he probably did the same thing that Obama did, ended up with a bunch of Muslim Brotherhood types, radicals, in the administration, because Biden was in that administration. He probably moved a few of them over. And, he's clueless, this guy. He is the danger to the country.
She's going to, there's another 40 seconds. She'll translate it directly into what that piece means.
And in this video, what he has done is he's put himself, at least these people who I think of as the Muslim Brotherhood, radical Islamists, they have him endorsing and enforcing Sharia vigilantism. I mean, think about it. You have people who are Muslim scholars, when they start talking about enforcing Sharia law, it is, should we use, when you talk about the hand, is it the sword? Is it firearms? Is it improvised explosive devices? Think about the two brothers who went and used their mother's pressure cooker to hurt people during the Boston Marathon bombings in 2013. That's the kind of thing. And if you don't know what you're talking about, then you shouldn't do it.
There you go. That, to me, is a big deal.
There's there's a few others. I thought I clipped one of them, and now I'm thinking about it, I probably didn't. There's a number of analysts that are bringing this up.
Good.
Biden, of course, doesn't know what the hell is going on. So what are you gonna do?
What? Sharia law, is that with the headgear? Huh? Look, here's the deal. Come on, man. What do you mean? Come on, man. Sharia law.
Look. So I have my last clip is this. This is the NPR again. I'm getting great material from them.
Yeah, I can tell.
Now just needs a little comment at the end, because this is the stupidest report I have ever heard on NPR, and you'll realize when you hear the report why I think this.
Okay.
So this is H1B analysis.
This is the indicator from Planet Money. On June 22nd, President Trump issued an executive order to restrict certain types of immigrants and temporary foreign workers from coming to the U.S. Now, this order applied to future immigrants, not to people who are already here or those who had already been approved to move here.
And the rationale given by the president was that with so many Americans out of work right now, he did not want more people from other countries competing with Americans for the available jobs. And the executive order was consistent with the president's broader agenda of limiting immigration to the U.S.
Maggie Peters is an associate professor of political science at UCLA, and she says there was one thing about the executive order that she found really surprising. Unlike the Trump administration's earlier changes to immigration, which had largely focused on restricting so-called low-skilled immigration, this new executive order also targeted visas for highly skilled workers.
And specifically, as Maggie explains, the order suspended new H-1B visas. Those are the visas that often go to foreign workers in the U.S. tech sector. The government had previously begun scrutinizing H-1B applications more than it had before, and that had made it more complicated to apply for them. But this order temporarily suspends granting H-1Bs altogether, with just a few exceptions.
But when you think about the H-1B workers who are coming into the tech sector, that's not exactly the population that we think about who've lost their jobs right now. If we think about any group, the tech sector has pretty quickly moved to being able to work remotely.
So she believes, this woman from UCLA.
There it is.
She believes that if you work from home and you're a tech worker, you're not threatened by H-1B because you work from home. The tech sector is adopted to working from home. Thus, if you work from home, your job's secure.
What an idiot.
What is she talking about?
Well, this actually gave me something else to think about. If half of these tech companies have you working from home, go work from your home in India or Pakistan. You can dial in. It's the same thing. Problem solved.
Well, that's borderline outsourcing. But the point is that she says H-1B, the tech community has resolve this issue of you being replaced. You making $100,000 a year and being replaced by a $60,000 Hindi on H-1B because you're working from home. How does this report even air? It's stupid.
You know, ever since they got rid of Lee Masters at NPR, Jarl Moan, I only call him by his disc jockey name, it's gone downhill. And, they have the $1 billion endowment. That's what Lee got them. So they're just coasting. And they've probably, these kids are probably working for free. They're interning. Half of them come through PRX. It's hard to make money in that business. But they all have the same voice, which is exactly what you want.
They do have a similar voice, although there's some very weird voices that have been cropping up.
I look forward to more of your NPR reports. They are fun. They are definitely fun.
All right.
Yes. Well, with that, we're closing the ship down, man. It's time. We're well over 3 hours. We did have a long first donation segment, so that's true. That is appreciated. We have Nick the Rat coming up on the No Agenda stream, if you're listening live. End of show mix is Professor JCJ, Jesse Coy Nelson, and I am coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the capital of the Drone Star State. It is, in fact, if you're looking for it on governmental maps, FEMA region number 6. And until Sunday in the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Wow. I could have used a little more.
Nah.
Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. We'll see you here on Sunday. Until then, as always, adios, mofos! And such.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record.
This is simply not true.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
I am proud of the work we did.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay.
And I inhaled. I did inhale.
She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so.
This is simply not true.
She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California.
I am proud of the work we did.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay.
And I inhaled. I did inhale.
I'm Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability. Welcome to Kingswood Community Center. Actually, that's the one down I used to work. That's a joke. You didn't know where we were anyway. It's great to be here and back in a place where, My name is Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women you know the thing. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo. Dvorak.org/NA.
In the morning.